to impress the audience, but you also want to stay true to yourself. You see.
That was impressive. I mean, give it up for Stephen G. Give it up.
I love that so much. I spoke with Oprah in jail, and they told me.
Crying. Crying.
You got no clue.
It's about to be a wonderful episode on SlapStik Comedy Radio.
Yes, indeed.
Y'all heard the man, Stephen G, with his Maya Angelou impression. Let's clap to that.
I got about 90 of them, you know what I mean? I used to do a whole bunch of them, and that's one part of comedy that a lot of comedians don't do anymore is impressions, because a lot of people can't. And then, people fall in love with you if you can do impressions, especially white crowds. They love it so much, Black people be hating a little bit, like, yeah, you sound like them, yeah. Where did you walk that again, man? What are you talking about? What are you saying? Oh my God.
Oh my goodness. We got a wonderful show tonight in the house.
Yes, indeed. SlapStik Comedy Radio. We are so proud, so glad to have a couple of our really, really good friends.
Really, really good friends.
In the building. Mr. Keith Bender,
Woohoo!
Kim Mott, Maurice, Maurice Hill.
Maurice Hill, Mr. Mo. We got to call him Mo.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. I think we're going to have a great show. Great lineup. We're glad to be here. I was just watching the news earlier about the guy in Louisiana, I believe it was, who the police beat to death. Well, just now. Trying to do so. It's been a couple years ago when they got this. They beat the guy to death.
Oh, wow.
Mark Cohen is here, and, they try to hide the pictures, but now they're out. The body cam footage. I mean, it took so long to get this stuff. I don't understand, but oh my goodness, this is just crazy.
Crazy.
It's craziness. It's craziness.
So let me guess, it was a black man.
It was a black man.
Okay,
yeah.
Of course.
I don't understand about the race, when they start teaching us about race in school and, slavery and the history of America and all this stuff, I wondered to myself, I was like, there's no way that someone could feel superior to you and hate you like that. Because if you felt you were better than me, what you killing me for? What you hate me so bad for if you feel you better than me?
Right.
It don't make no sense. You know what I'm saying? If you feel you're smarter, just think about the people they don't think, you pay them no mind. You'd be like, oh, I feel sorry for them. Because, they're there and I'm here. I feel sorry for them. That's what somebody would really feel if you thought somebody was inferior to you. You wouldn't hate them enough to kill them and to keep them down. And you wouldn't.
Absolutely.
You envied the hell out of those people. Every time you looked at them, hate came in your mind because you knew you were inferior. You had to know this, and that's where the hate came in. No one hates someone they feel like they're superior to.
Right, because you can never say like Michael Jordan, like he's playing basketball and he's playing against the Knicks or somebody he kills every single game. He's like, oh, I got this. This is nothing.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you're gonna beat me up. I'm Michael Jordan. That's it.
And they're going to talk good about the guys. Oh, he's coming along. He's going to be a good player in a few years. We'll talk him up after he killed him. Right, cool. We'll talk him up. But that shows you superiority and inferiority.
Right.
And where those dynamics take place, and how they fall. You know what I mean?
Right.
No one feels bad about somebody they're better than.
Right.
I mean, you don't hate that person. There's no way. There's no way to have hate for that person. You know what I'm saying? There's no way.
I don't even understand how people even get on that mind frame of being better than somebody when we're not even on the same path.
Yeah, really. I mean, that's crazy.
Even if we both comedians, you still doing your thing, I'm doing my thing.
Yeah, there's different lanes.
We got different lanes.
Different lanes.
So there's no competition.
Yeah.
Unless you're trying to stop me get to the basket, I'm getting to the basket.
Right. And see, I'm a different type of comic, like there's different kind of comedians, like it's all kind of doctors, eye doctors, ear, nose, and throat doctor, ankle, bone doctor. I'm a brain and heart surgeon. Now, there's a lot of comments out there just mess with your ankle, or you got a sprain, and you come in to get fixed that. But I'm open heart surgery type comment. You know what I'm saying? You are now too. You know, you're in that arena. And so it's different levels of this stuff. You know what I'm saying? And there's different lanes.
And that's what I said, like, when the first time that I really seen Steve on stage was like with the old Funny Bone. And I'm just, at that point, like you said, I'm just a comic.
Yeah.
I'm doing 5 minutes up in front of like everybody else, but I know Steve is coming on stage. I maybe have got like 2 laughs out of the 5 minutes.
Yeah.
But I'm still, when I watch Steve go up on stage and it's all, the whole time.
And you see the command.
Yeah, it was just like you can feel the energy in the room. Everything is just, everybody's clapping, laughing, people throwing up their drinks, and people kicking up their legs, people walking around.
I could put out bird season. I hear it.
Then as a comic, I'm looking like, how do I get like that? So you just looking like, man, I got some work to do. Yeah, that's it.
Now, Keith used to come and was trying to find. We had hard rooms. We had hard rooms, and that's what I tell companies, try to get the hard rooms. Especially if you're doing it, you're just coming up, you're doing it for free. You know, you're just trying to work on your craft. Don't go to the places where they're going to give you a friendly laugh.
Right.
Because you're going to go somewhere else and be disappointed.
But there's no more salons. There's no more salons.
Yeah, there's no more salons and stuff like that. So, you know, try to get some hard rooms. Yeah.
Yeah, that was the hard room.
Oh, yeah. Try by the fire.
Yeah.
So is there anything about the comedy game that y'all would change as of today? To make it better? Anything?
I think I would, like we were just talking about, I'm kind of trying to put the cart before the horse. I think I would probably say, like a comedy license, if you will.
Okay.
Now, you got to be licensed to drive, don't you? I think you should have a license to tell jokes. Some other seasoned comedians have to look over your stuff and okay it or say no. And you're not ready for a license to be in front of people.
The OGs, yeah.
Not you just jump out and you up there and they let you get up there for free and you like, yeah, I'm a comedian doing all the pictures, bam, and everything after the show. Come on, man. You know?
That makes sense. You got to go through the registration process and all that.
Yeah.
Your 10 minutes is a parallel parking. You're like, like, oh, you can't parallel park.
Exactly. I think it should be some kind of criteria.
Right.
You know, to be a professional in any other genre, you have to go through some stuff to be a professional. You know, the top of that game. You know what I mean? So I just feel like it's too easy. You know, and that's why they take it like they do so lightly. They want paid in a year or two. They don't have the 10, 15 minutes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They don't want to put the work in. And that's what it boils down to. They just don't want to put the work in, and they want to be celebrities overnight.
Right. And not even having like 10 or 15 killer minutes. It's just 10 or 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
not even
good.
killing minutes.
Yeah.
They come up there at 5 of that, they dancing.
Oh, man. Yes.
I just love Stevie G.
Really, man? You gonna dance for 5 minutes? They only gave you 10 minutes. You dance 5 that away. You don't have no time. You're gonna right into your jokes. If you think, you be like, okay, I gotta hurry up because I want to get all my shit in.
Right.
You know?
That's when you know you got time.
That's when you know you got time. You cut that music off. Hey, how y'all doing? Hey, the other day I was bad. You know,
The music is important.
oh man, that one there, and go out the stage and everything. That's not going to be part of this. That's not going to add.
Reintroduce themselves.
Yeah,
Oh, man.
They didn't get enough claps.
yeah. It's crazy. It's crazy. Really, it is.
So I know all of you write. I've seen your notebooks, your book bags. Kenny was at the open mic for notepads. I love that. And I have a video of y'all that y'all don't, you and Steven, y'all, I got a good video of that. It's going to come out. But I want to know, besides writing your comedy lines, do any of you create any other content, like write skits or create characters?
Sure, I do. I write short stories that could be turned into films or whatever at any time. You know, as long as I get the short down, I can write it long.
Exactly.
That's what I
You're like,
want.
I'll kill. Okay, if they call you back,
But
you murdered.
Exactly.
To them, not just to you. You murdered to them. Like, when can you come back?
right.
Like before I leave some places, they're like, let's put you back on the calendar. Let's get you back here, like what, 4 months good?
Yeah, that's the
That's when
goal.
you know you killed.
That's the goal. And the thing is like being like a younger comic and in this day and age using social media. See, for me, I'm using it as a platform to build my audience. It's not like back in the day when say you had tour and
We had Comic View,
Comic View, you had
Showtime at the Apollo, Def Jam.
you had all of that stuff.
We had all that.
And now you got this social media. So
Yeah.
for me, I'm building my audience now. So, because there's going to be a day where the social media thing has a ceiling.
There you go.
It's only going to take me so far.
There you go.
That's when my stand-up is
You
going
have
to
to
take
show
off
and
because
prove.
I have a following, I have a fan base, and now when I say I'm going to be in Tampa next weekend, it's going to sell out.
Right.
Because not only do they know that I'm funny, I built the fan base. They're going to see me just because they saw me on Instagram.
Yeah.
But I want to make sure I'm funny first.
Yeah, it's like
That's my goal.
The guys on Wild 'N Out.
Yeah.
Like, they touring and all 4 of them on the stage at the same time.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, I've never seen that before.
They be selling out. Man.
Yeah, I know, because they sell out because of the popularity.
Exactly, but that's the thing. They built the audience
They built
first.
the audience.
And then now but they also funny too, so that they built a bigger audience once they start hitting the road.
Right.
But
I would have to do it with them because of the money, but I would tell them I would prefer to be up there by myself because it's a solo sport. You know, it really is. I mean, these guys clicking up in 4 or 5, like we're a team, a comedy team. Okay, you can always do it on stage by yourself.
Right.
You know.
Right. It's a singles tennis match. That's what it is.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, that's it.
It certainly is.
they do more like more improv up there and stuff like that. I think they do single sets. It's more improv.
It's more improv.
Yeah.
But in general, they built their audience individually through social. Well, mostly DC Young Fly more so social media.
Yeah.
But you know,
I think that's robbing the crowd though a bit.
Like, what do you mean?
Because it's not set material. The crowd should be, you shouldn't just go out and just improv on a crowd that paid to see you. You should
Okay, I
have
see
some
what
set,
you're saying.
grown jokes that you know are gonna kill. And just because you got the following, just don't shortchange the audience.
Yeah.
You know, Dick Sally Jamer, come on.
So you like get out there, perform, don't just go out there and...
Right. Put it together, and because I've never seen anyone get standing all 4 of them being on stage. You know? So it's like, the audience was like, that was okay. You know, they asked the audience members, how was the show? Yeah, it's all right. You know?
Did you
They
have
were like, oh, they killed him, murder. Oh my God. None of that. You know, okay, that's all right.
Yeah. Did you see the incident what happened with DC Young Fly? Did you see what happened with that?
yeah, you got right up.
But it was a heckler that was in the audience and they walked up to the stage and I guess he ended up knocking him out on stage.
He said, well, he made a post about it. He said the dude went up basically like rah-rah on stage. He didn't know what was going on. He thought he was just being a fan. And he said he went to like greet the dude like, oh, he was a crazy fan. And the dude was like,
Ready to fight.
Ready to fight. So DC said he defended himself and hit the dude.
That's what I've done.
That is how you're done too,
I
Steve?
mean, don't even come up here to try to help me.
Right, you shouldn't do it to the stage anyway.
Don't be sitting in the front row with your foot on the stage. Now, you ain't in show business. I am. I'm the one that get off the stage. Don't come up here. I don't need any help at all. Don't yell out. Don't try to help me at all. For real, I don't need any help. I mean, I don't know. A lot of people don't understand that when they come to a comedy show. They think they're helping you. Yeah, just talk about weird bitches, talk about fat bitches, or something like they helping you. Shut your ass up. Before I talk about you for 30 minutes.
30 minutes.
And have you ready to fight, then I'm going to kick your ass outside. How about that? It's just the lack of respect.
Yeah.
You'll never get that from the right audience. Ever. It's just the disrespect that we have for one another. You know, a black crowd will be like, okay, he better be funny. Make me laugh. Off the rip. You know what I'm saying? That's why when I started, I used to write to break people's ribs. I'm writing my jokes to make you throw up. Because you gonna look at me like, we don't know him. I ain't never seen him on Comic View. I know how arrogant our people are.
Right.
You know, and ain't got shit, ain't did shit, but still arrogant.
Very.
You know what I'm saying? So I know they'll be like, okay, make us laugh. You know, on that tip. So, okay, I'm gonna make you throw up. How about that?
Right.
He don't want to hang with me all night after I get off the stage. He want to be my friend. But then I'm ashamed. Because he was hating first till you found out, like, oh, he's the truth.
Yeah.
Now, white audience, oh, comments coming in, all right, here we go.
Mm-hmm.
They let you do your shit. Then if you're not funny, then they'll clap you off real hard. That's what the white audience do. They'll clap you off.
He tried.
Hey, okay, that's my time, guys. Get your ass out of here. They'll clap you off so fast. White audience, I love them, because they'll clap, they show respect, and they'll just clap your ass off.
So, when a video or anything is posted about y'all on social media, do you ever go back and read the comments about yourselves?
I get this like a video that's on stage.
Yeah. Yeah,
I'm not that famous yet. They might have some video out there. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm just had comments from people that like on the show. And, like said they don't get my show.
Yeah.
This and that. Yeah. I've never got any
Negative, yeah.
Never.
Like, not me.
Never. Never. And if I do, I'll come back and do your shit for free.
Oh, that's dope. Yeah.
I'll come back. You set up another show, goddamn, and I'm going to make sure I'm going to study real hard. I'm going to murder. You might not be able to see me anymore for about $1,000 after I do that. You know, it's going to be a $1 or so. You know, but I mean, like Keith, man, I took him under my wing, D'Amico, these guys, you know, I've always been a giver. Like, you know, I've never been a parsimonious person. You know, for the people who are listening, parsimonious means,
I was just getting ready to look that up.
Hey,
parsimonious means,
he keeps me together with the
it
vocabulary.
means stingy. I've never been a parsimonious person. That's a stingy person. And you know plenty of people are just stingy in this game.
Yes.
Like, won't tell you nothing. Like, where they having a rich comment? I don't know,
Me and Kenny was just talking about that.
ask somebody else.
People don't want to teach you, they don't want to show you, they want to charge you to teach you or show you.
Yeah.
As a new comic, you do get the vibe sometimes, especially from older comics. I mean, I figured as a new comic and just coming up to the scene, it's one of those you gotta prove things because there's so many of us that come in and out. It's
Yeah.
like I'm not going to waste my time giving you anything and you ain't even about to stick around.
Yeah.
That's the vibe that I get sometimes.
Yeah, I would understand that if they did it before, though.
For,
It's like, you know,
But I do feel like there's not enough comedians or people who've been seasoned in the game that take younger comics under their wing, because that's why a lot of comics fall to the wayside. You
Yeah.
have no OGs.
Yeah.
A lot of OGs
No doubt.
still feel like, I gotta make it first before I can help you out. I'm still trying to pull myself. Which is not, it's a crab in the bucket mentality, but I feel like for me, I'm glad to have somebody like Kenny around and somebody like Jason just because I kind of force myself on Kenny and Jason. I don't care. I'm gonna sit stand next to you and ask you questions. And
right.
maybe tired of me.
That's what you do.
Yeah,
That's what
in
you do.
general, you don't have a lot of comedians that open that door. Like I'm just an ambitious person, and I make it happen. But sometimes comedians, a lot of OGs they seem closed off. And they still try to, get what they want.
But even like somebody like with Steve, like he knew if somebody was serious. So like we would always
I knew Keith was serious.
Yeah.
That's what I figured.
Showed up every week, got his pad. He's calling me through the week. Hey, can I drop through? Can we do some right today?
That's what's
You
up.
know what I'm saying? I'm like, yeah, come on through.
Right.
Man.
Yeah.
I wish it was more of that. At least here in our city.
Well, people don't know where blessings come from. They come from giving.
Sure.
You can't be a taker and expect God to bless you.
Keith and I were just talking about that before the show.
It's like Jesus and the disciples. After Jesus taught the disciples, guess what the disciples said? Now, what should we charge, Jesus, when we go out here and heal people and, preach to people, what should we charge? Jesus said, ye have freely received, now freely give. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You got this for free. What you talking about? What you gonna charge? I didn't charge y'all.
Right.
So I feel like God blessed me with this. I'm
Amen.
already a giver. You know what I mean? And
Yep.
so if I knew how to clean chitlins and cook them properly and you didn't, it'd be just wrong for me to like, well, no, I'm not telling you how to get the dookie out. You go in and just cook them how you want to. No, I'm gonna tell you how to clean the damn chitlins so they can be,
I understood that, man.
Me either. People like this.
What is he gonna do?
Yeah.
What is he gonna
Because you can't be everywhere performing at the same time.
No.
You can't be everywhere.
Right. And I love watching, like, even some of the newer comics going to the open mics, and I can watch them and, like, okay, try to give them a tip, but if they don't want to take it, then I just leave it alone. Like, and I say, yeah.
I mean, it's crazy to me if you got an OG comic or seasoned comic trying to tell you something, you trying to listen. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's, the thought of that, to me as a new comic, is outrageous because but I mean, everybody's different.
Yeah.
But for me, I try to, even if I'm not a part of the conversation, I try to stand and listen. Because I wanna know the do's and don'ts. Number one, I feel like relationship is a very vital part of this business.
Yes,
No doubt.
yes.
If you're a younger comic who's respectful, you do your time, you don't go to people's green room if you're exposed to, you don't be really asking for a lot of favors, or you know, it's a give and take. I feel like older comics are more likely to take you under their wing and really show you how this game goes, which is you want longevity, because this is a marathon
It's a
sport.
marathon. It
Like,
really is.
I don't expect, like, I think Seinfeld said, however long you've been doing comedy is how old you are in comedy.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm an infant. I need to learn what I need to learn, so I'm trying to be around as much of it as I can,
Yeah.
because I know long term for me, that's going to benefit me long term to be able to benefit somebody else behind me.
And that sounds good, man, because the arrogancy I see from these young people,
Man.
these young comics, the arrogance.
Man, it's crazy.
Like,
I even see
where
it.
do you get off at?
I see it. It's like, it's weird. It's actually weird as a new, I can tell you from like down here, the newer comics, especially in this age with social media, it's a lot of moxie and chest because you got the followers, or because people blow your head up when you post a clip and everybody's like, you gotta come see me, you gotta come see me, and then it's like when you try to talk to them or reach out or show love, it's almost like you were supposed to do that. You know what I'm saying? It's like, not really. You ain't who I'm supposed to be talking to anyway. Like, you know what I mean? So it's kind of hard. You get it from both ends. You got the cocky comics at the bottom, and you got the OG comics that's still trying to make it and trying to tell you nothing. So it's like hard to really know the direction to go as a new comic sometimes. So when you find those OGs, like I be trying to clean.
You just gotta get a takeaway. Like anytime somebody's talking about you or giving you advice on something with comedy, just have one takeaway. Like even with Steve, anytime that I've ever talked to Steve and he said something about my comedy, he always says, Kenny, you gotta have conviction. And the way he expresses conviction, like, conviction! You gotta put it over here! You gotta raise your voice, put it over there! Come on! When you say you grab her, push her to the side, grab her in your arm, squeeze her, make her feel it!
Because if you are delivering your stand-up and you don't look like you believe it, the audience ain't gonna believe it. They're not gonna believe it either. Like, oh nigga, you don't even believe that, do you? And you have to believe it, man. That's the only way it's gonna like transcend to them.
Right.
You know? And your writing, you have to write them in it like, you know, you have to explain it like a story. You know what I'm saying? So the best way to set that up, you gotta use the fewest amount of words to get to what you're trying to say.
Right.
You know, to bring them into, you know what I'm saying, the story, you know?
Get to the funny.
Get to the funny. Get to the funny. Don't be waiting. And try to layer your joke. If you can, then you don't have to wait for the funny. If you layered that joke, oh, I'm gonna be funny all the way through. You know, they laugh. The punchline ain't even came. I got standing notice before I even finished the Robert Lee thing. They done got up and I ain't even said, I'm your host, Robert Lynch, and as always, we hope you have 40-ounce witches and collard green drinks. I ain't even got to the end, and they're already standing up. I'm like, oh man, that's a layered joke. That's a good joke. You know what I mean?
But the question is, how long does it? Well, first of all, I mean, how long do you think it took you to really figure out how to layer it? You know what I mean? Like, how do you? Because you know, like for me, I'm still in the stage. I write my joke out fully. If I don't go on stage, like I come from an improv world. Like before I did stand-up, I did improv comedy for about 9 years. So I already had stage presence. I know how to be on stage, and I'm good at doing an hour show off a one-word suggestion. But stand-up and improv comedy is like it's almost like football and rugby.
Two different monsters.
It's football and rugby. Yes, some of the skills are synonymous, but they two completely different sports. So I can ad-lib and roast some stuff, but I'm gonna be dancing for 5 minutes if I can figure out.
I tell you.
So I'm still in that phase where I'm writing out jokes full out, and I'm still learning how to layer, where to put certain things. So how long did it take you really to layer or learn how to layer a joke? Or what that really means?
Well, it's the right with several punchlines is the layering, and then you you keep that the funniest one at the end, and then you institute the rest of those into your segue some kind of way. And now your whole joke is funny because you really got punchlines in your segue. Now,
So it's just,
you know what I mean?
So it's really like just, so when you say layers, really just punchlines on the setup.
on top of each other.
Oh,
On
okay.
top of each other, on top. So you're describing it with punchlines too, you know what I mean?
Okay.
Your descriptiveness of, you write with a premise, a segue, and a punchline. So I'm going to write with 5 or 6 punchlines. Put them in the segue. The other ones that ain't so funny, I'm putting them in the segue. So you're laughing all the way through the joke. I'm not even done with the end. I mean, you don't want to get to the, boom, 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 and bam, and think they're going to laugh. What if they don't?
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So if it's layered and they're laughing a little bit, they don't have to really crack up at the punchline. You know what I'm saying? You can just go right on into something else because they already been laughing. But if you're setting it up, 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 and then bam, so if you're setting it up with jokes in the setup, easier.
Well, let me ask you another in-depth question. How do you know when you're writing that that's the punchline for your setup premise, and how do you know what that is? Because when you're sitting there,
Because you have to end the joke. It's a beginning, a middle, and an end. You should wrap the joke up. So
I mean, like, how do you know, like, like, you say you layer with just punchlines, but I'm saying, how do you know that what you're saying in this particular instance in the beginning, middle, and end is like punchline, punchline, punchline? Like, what's your criteria for the punchline? That's what I mean.
So he's saying like if how do you when you first write the joke out, how do you know that's your
'cause, like,
punchline?
usually
Like, if you're that's basically going to the open mic and you're going and you're saying it and you get
So
a
is that,
response.
is that how you figure it out, or you can sit and be like, this is a punchline, that's a punchline?
well, you should know what the punchline because you telling the joke and you know what the funny part is.
Gotcha. So
you write with several funny endings. Several funny endings. When you end the joke, you write with several funny endings. Now, the funniest one you leave at the end.
Gotcha.
The rest of them you institute into that segue.
Gotcha. Okay, that makes more sense.
That's how you layer your jokes.
Because like most of the time, even when I watch a lot of, I've been watching comedy for a long time, even just watching Kennedy and Jason and I watched you on stage, it's mostly in your mind you think you have to set up punchline, you have to set up premise punchline, and it's just like you telling a story to get to the point of the punchline, you don't necessarily think about layering with punchlines. Because to me that is funny, and I know exactly what you're talking about. I've seen other comics, or just even seasoned OG comics, when they layer with punchlines, it's even funnier than if you just told a story to get to your original.
It's way funnier.
It's way fun because you laughing, like you said, you laughing before they even get to the end of the joke.
That's when you get roars.
Right.
You get roars, not just the chuckles. You get roars now. Because they're laughing. You build it. The laughter is building because you continuously. You done said about 5 punchlines. They really don't know it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
That's like keep your report card show. That's a layer.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's a layer.
Okay.
So it's he probably got about 20 punchlines.
That's the way that I've always written.
Yeah.
That's the way I've always written. And if it's cracking me up, it's gonna break the audience ribs.
Right.
If I'm laughing writing it like, oh my God,
Yeah.
like this, I can't wait to say this shit. This is murder right here.
Yeah.
If I'm laughing when I'm writing it, if I don't laugh when I'm writing a joke, I probably won't use it. I'll leave it down there and I'll work on it some more, because that's where you're going to get most of your best material from the material you've written already.
That's
You know what I'm
It's
saying?
real funny that you say that. I remember, and I'm still obviously new, but I remember when I first started doing open mics, I had this big old note thing. I was just writing ideas. And then before the pandemic, I got into a little rhythm, and I was trying these out, and I just left them alone once things started.
Never abandon them, no. Don't write them because you're going to be able to improv on your own stuff.
Right, but this is what happened. This is what I'm about to get to. Is now the last, I would say last couple months, I started revisiting those, and my stage presence, experience, all that stuff. I feel like these, even when I wrote them, I'm like, these ain't funny. These just ideas. Now they started to be funny.
Well, you think different every day.
Exactly. And I got confidence on it. So it's just to that point.
Yeah.
I'm like, I can go back to all these ideas. I feel like if I can get these ideas, like, rhythm and written out, like I can make some stuff out of this.
Yeah, the Robert Leach joke that I do, it took me about a month to put that all together.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I didn't have the endings and all that yet, and then I worked with Vince D. Shout out to Vince D, old comic. from Dallas, Texas. I said, Vince told me, man, that's so funny, but you got to wrap it up. You got to end it, you know. And that's when I thank you for joining us on this episode of Lifestyles of the Poor and Unknown. I'm Robin Lynch, and as always, we hope you make 40-ounce wishes and forward-going dreams because you can't afford champagne and caviar. He told, I had to wrap it. He didn't tell me how to wrap it. I was like, I got to end this joke. So it took me about a month to really get the joke all together where I'm like, yeah, I can take this out now.
Right.
You know, it's so ready, you know. It's really ready.
Love it.
That's when you know it's funny. You got layered jokes, man. I've seen a lot of comments and they're looking in the audience because they didn't laugh and they're what? Well, hell no, it wasn't. You said about 2 minutes worth of wording and then you thought one thing was going to just kill them. What if it doesn't? You know what I mean? And never acknowledge a joke not going over. I don't know, that's really energy, but I've seen seasoned people do it. Oh, you ain't like that? Oh, what? You ain't, okay, that's going to take away from your set. You know what I'm saying? Never acknowledge a joke not doing good. Never. You just act like that wasn't supposed to be funny. Like that was part of the setup for something else. You know what I'm saying? That's how you do that. You go right through that. Don't stop and pause. Oh, what? Really? Oh, that. Like you ready to fight them now. You know, y'all funny tomorrow. I kick one of y'all's ass now. You know, you can't do that time. You're the funny guy. You know, you can't get serious. You know. So that's why I've always wrote with layers. I try to layer all my jokes. You know what I'm saying? Every one of them.
You have great advice. Sorry.
No, because a lot of times you might even start out with just like almost like a one-liner, and you might set up, and then eventually it'll just start build to something else.
Yes, it will.
Yeah.
Yes, it will.
And anytime me and Keith we'll get on the phone and we laugh at a joke, it's 100% time it's always.
It's gonna work.
Oh, it's every time.
You up because you know you're your own worst critic.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, we'll be laughing on the phone and be like, oh, we got to do that on stage.
Man, boy, you better say that on stage. That's hilarious.
Oh.
Man, when you did it, this is why I'm hot. I couldn't wait till you get off stage. Like, man, you got to be dancing and shit with that. Right on the way, boom, 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 all this, boom, boom. Then take the jacket off, and then start again. I remember that. But you can't just stand there and just like, no, you got to give it to him. Like, remember, I'm hot, niggas like, and then take the jacket off and start again. Running Man, all that. That would kill so bad.
Yeah, I was, at that time, I think I was just nervous. Like, you know how you feel like inside that you want to release it, but it's not there yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm holding into it like this monster wants to come out.
Yes, indeed.
But I can't unzip him yet.
Yeah, right. He's been there. He's like, well, why isn't it come out? Man, I'm writing this shit.
It's that feeling like I was telling you when you want to dance, but you too shy to dance.
Yeah.
And the girl's like, come on. You're like, no, you go here. I'm standing here.
I'll watch you.
But inside, you're having a whole concert to yourself.
You're dancing inside.
Yeah, you're like,
I'm doing
oh.
every dance inside. Yeah. You're fucking it up inside. You're killing it inside. Oh man.
So I got some random questions.
Sure, shoot.
Ready? So what is the best inside joke you have ever been a part of?
Inside joke?
Yes.
Yes, inside.
That's a hard question.
Yeah. Inside joke.
I don't know.
Inside
joke. The best one.
I would hurt somebody's feelings if I said that. Oh, I hurt somebody's feelings. Oh, wow.
To the point where you know some information about somebody.
Yeah.
And everybody's laughing except for that person.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Except for that person.
Yeah, you ain't laughing, it's about you.
It's about you.
It's about you.
Yeah.
No doubt about it.
No doubt about it.
That's the worst feeling.
Nobody wants to answer. I should move on.
I mean, I can't even think of nothing, just even thinking.
I can't either, not to tell you the truth without just, throwing somebody under the
bus. Yeah, that's the scary way. I'm like, I mean, I got something.
I've been on tour before with somebody and they were selling DVDs for $5. We woke up the next morning going home. And if one of the person that bought one of the DVD, one of their DVDs said, I'm gonna need $4 of them back. And just send them for $5. I fell out.
I would have beat up myself.
I think I laughed all the way back. It's a 10-hour drive. I laughed all the way back.
That was hilarious.
Have you guys seen Black Dynamite?
Yeah.
Remember he's in the helicopter, he's laughing all the way, and then when he gets back, he's still laughing. When he's landing, he gets back to the plane, he's still laughing. That's how I feel. Like, oh man, this is so funny, man. Like, come on, don't do the dude like that.
Oh, he watched this 5 minutes. He probably had like 5 minutes on it or something.
I don't know how much time was on it, but the person said they needed $4 back. $5
Hilarious.
You're not gonna say no name,
No, I won't say that.
The inside joke. Hilarious.
I've seen people bomb and come on stage and like, how did I do? Look at.
Oh, that's the worst.
How did you do?
That's the worst.
Ask one of these audience members.
I was just gonna
Why you gonna ask me?
I was just gonna say that.
Because I'm a seasoned vet. I've been on television. You gonna, as long as I say you did good, you gonna take that? No, the audience was listening. This is what you're trying to. There's a lot of young comics, you know, that I used to, they be like, Stephen G, I'm pro. Okay, guy, you gotta prove that too.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You gotta prove that to these audience members who don't know you.
Right.
You know, that's who you gotta prove it to, not just me. You gotta kill them.
That's what we used to say, like, about, I mean, the funny bone used to always have competitions, and, you know, they would bring all their friends, and then once their friends was gone, they had to do a real show, then it's reality. It's a whole reality check, It'd be like, yo, that really wasn't that funny, because your friends are going to laugh at you, because you know what, they know you.
Right.
When you can make some complete strangers laugh, that's it. That's it.
It's like you were boxing paraplegics, and then you was whipping their ass, you know, and then
And then the real boxer came in.
You 15 and old paraplegics now.
Boxing paraplegics was hilarious.
In the blue corner, you know you gonna kick his ass.
That's hilarious. Boxing paraplegics.
And then they bring in the real
Yeah, and you get beat up real bad. You know what I'm saying?
That's crazy.
We're asking people how you did. Because if you have to ask, if you have to ask, you know. You already know.
Right.
You know.
Yeah, because we're our worst. I mean, I'm my worst critic. Like,
we all are.
I'm gonna be like,
You have to be.
I'm like, yo, something didn't go over well on that one. Like, it could be one joke. I could have did great on all the jokes. There'd be one joke. I'm like, yo, I messed that up totally. The wording up.
Yeah, everything. You be mad.
Yeah.
I mean, Mike Epps. When I tell you Mike Epps used to be like, I hate to lose. Oh, I hate to lose. I'm like, all right. He's like, no, I'm fuck that. I hate to lose. He would take it so serious and personal. He'll be up all night going. I'm saying this. I'm saying. Mike used to make me like, oh man, you for real. He used to be salty. I mean, absolutely salty. He didn't have no fun or nothing. Like, I hate to lose. He used to say it all the time. If he didn't think he did a good set, he'd be like, I hate to lose, man, for real.
Wow.
Man.
I'm glad I got to witness Kevin Hart in his early stages of wanting that too.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it. Because you hate to lose.
Yeah.
For real. It's like a boxing match. It's you against the audience. You know? It's just like that. You're a fighter and you're fighting the audience. And if you're a boxer, the first thing your boxing coach will tell you, be first. Go out there and establish it first. Establish respect first. Don't let this dude build up his confidence on you. You go out here right quick, and let him know you sweet and he in a fight. Same thing with the audience. You come out there quick, I'm sweet, nigga. I don't know what y'all thought. You know what I'm saying? Then you can sit back and relax. And go ahead and do your set. You ain't got to be on edge now because you done pip them real fast. And they're like, oh shit, okay. Now you can relax and just be like, they're respecting you now. Now it's now. When you first come out, there's people like this.
Oh, you got that look.
Then you see the lightning up. You see the lightning up? Now I can relax. Okay, I don't run you over now. Don't take 15 minutes to run them over. No, do that in the first 3 minutes.
Remember you telling me, you said, first 10 seconds, you should have something funny
You should have some funny coming out your mouth. For real.
That's where that layered stuff comes in.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
You're hitting with a layered joke and it's like,
Yes, indeed.
I mean, you ain't getting no making no jokes.
Yeah, establish yourself real quick. Like, no, I do that.
I got you.
Because black audience, they're going to be judging you. You know, they're judging you. They're like the comedy police. I don't know who told black people they was the comedy police, but they really, really think they are, you know. And someone think they detectives. I'm a comedy detective. I'm a comedy. I've seen every comedy show. I've seen every Bernie Mac, Martin Lawrence. You know, so what? You know, and they'll judge you real hard. You know, that's why I wrote so hard.
So Steve, let me ask you this: like, how important is the opening joke? I mean, like your
It's very
opening.
important.
Like, is it a one-liner or is it just like...
Whatever it is, come out and smoking Joe Frazier.
So you don't
Then you
really...
can relax.
So when you say... So you really don't waste no time with, you know, hiring by
I come out hard with 5 minutes.
You don't say
No.
none of that. You just... But as soon as you come out, you into whatever you want to say.
Well, now that I'm headlining and I'm sick, and you know, it's more respect.
Yeah.
You know, that comes with that.
Yeah.
Because the people know, and they know, like, he's been on this and he's been on that, so they're going to give you a little more respect.
Right.
You know, but before that,
Like in my stage.
I'm coming out to break your ribs.
At my stage.
I'm coming out to break your ribs. I'm going to be sweating in 5 minutes. But then after that, I'm there to slow down and rest and relax. And just
Now you got it.
I got him now. I'm going to come out hard the first 5 minutes. You know? Hard.
And then
And you write like that.
So I like that. You know, because I used to have to, man, it would be like me, Kool-Aid, Tony Roberts. It would be just a bunch of...
This them two names alone.
Right, yeah.
And all these guys, I mean, you know, and God rest Kool-Aid, so we lost him. And Kool-Aid would never want to follow me. He was going to go get his out, but let me get mine out the way. No one is funny as hell. And everybody, let me go and get mine out the way. He's like, all right, Kool-Aid. So that's what really got me, cause Rob Allen, he want to go last, Steve, you go last. I'm following all these funny ass things. That made me a dog. It made me a dog following these people. You know what I'm saying? And I know a lot of people that are, you know, a lot of headliners and preaching and it is, and these are really seasoned veterans. These are people who gotten rich. You know, stand up. They've been on television, all of this, but don't want nobody funny in front of them. Don't want nobody funny in front of them.
I heard about that.
Yeah.
Ryan Davis was talking about.
Oh, man.
Not Ryan Davis, but what's his name? He was talking about Ryan Davis, how he has Black Ron opening for him right now. I mean, Black Ron been doing it longer than Ryan Davis.
Yeah.
But Ryan Davis don't mind putting people that's funnier in front of him.
Yeah.
And he was talking about how comedians do not like to do that.
No, they don't.
I was like,
No,
why?
they don't.
I feel like I put somebody in front of me, it's enough laughs for everybody. Like, I
What
would
DL tell you? Let's go into what DL say.
He told the whole crowd, he said, give it up for that funny motherfucker. This will be the last time you know for me.
about you.
I'm in the Cheryl Underwood. I get on stage, I get a standing on in front of Cheryl Underwood. And I work with Cheryl a lot. You know, I work with Cheryl a lot. And Cheryl says, after the show, she tells me, the opening act shouldn't try to upstage the headliner. What?
She told me to say,
What are you talking about? Don't be me? You saying don't be me? Water myself down? No.
Why do you think that is? I think that's why we feel like...
It's a friendly competition.
Yeah, that's what I said earlier. We feel like a lot of veterans just don't really want to, especially not even just the young, I'm just like, if you're funny, it's just like they don't want you to be funnier than them.
Because they don't want to work.
That's what I'm saying. They don't have to work that hard.
You gotta work harder.
I saw this interview with Cedric Entertainment. He said he would purposely put funnier comedians in front of him to make him
To make
go
you
harder.
go harder.
And he was like that. Even now, he makes sure he finds the funniest comedians doing funny because that make him go way crazier when he goes crazy.
That's right.
This makes sense. I would
It
play
makes
harder.
sense. It makes sense. It does.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Why you wanna cheat? Why you wanna cheat the audience?
Right.
You know, or you don't want nobody laugh till you get up there. Really? Okay, you might as well hire a couple magicians, sword swallowers and shit.
he said, sword swallow.
Sword swallower, a juggler. He's a fire eater coming out right now in front of DL. Because DL ain't nobody funny in front of him. You know, it's crazy.
Right. Now Bruce is the only one that say, hey man, don't matter what you do out there, baby. I'm coming up behind
Bruce,
you. Yeah.
Bruce, man, listen, man. He's my dog, man. You know, like, you gotta do it, man.
Yeah, that's what he said. He said, I don't care what you say, go out there and have some fun, because I'm coming over right behind you.
Behind you, baby.
Yeah, that's what he was saying. Yeah.
What you say, good doctor? Good doctor. I love him. I love him.
Yeah.
The rest.
Shout out.
A couple of my first tours with him. Yeah, man.
Man, that's crazy. I didn't even realize, even from some of the people who made such a vast living doing this stuff, to tell you, even though you, not to say you at a lower level from a financial perspective, but you know, you're funny,
Funny is funny, man.
And funny is funny. It
Yeah.
don't matter what color, what creed, what level you are, if you're funny, even if you're funny, you're funny. I just never, I guess I'm like you, I feel different. Even if I was in a position, I can see myself in 30 years in and I'm still willing to help like that.
Yeah.
I just can't fathom just being like, that's selfish.
No doubt.
But I think that, in my personal opinion, I think there's a difference between somebody doing something out of passion and like selflessness. Like when you follow, that's what I was gonna say. If this is your purpose, you're selfless. When you have a plan, you're selfish. You see what I'm saying? When you have a plan, it's like I gotta get here and do this and do that, and then you in my way and you in my way. I gotta be first. But when you doing it out of passion, when this is your passion, what you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
You don't mind helping people because you don't get what you're doing.
Sure, but in every profession there's camaraderie.
Right.
And
Exactly.
comedy shouldn't be any different. I mean, if we were all doctors, would you want me to fuck the surgery up so we could get in there and get him out of here? He fucked you up with it. He brought everything up. Get him out of here. Come on, now you don't want me to perform the surgery correctly. Like, yeah, Dr. So-and-so, yeah, he's great. I'll take it from here, Doc. No, you don't want to come in, yeah, you fucked that suture up there. Look at that. Oh, that's bad.
The same like a mechanic, the same way. Like,
Same, man, come on, man.
Look at SlapStik. Look at this. Look around here. This is passion, right?
It's passion.
Right.
This is passion.
Well, it's different, man. When you do
Thank
something
you.
out of passion, it's different. Like just like I was talking about being on stage, like right now, like, you know, I mean, I'm like I said, I'm doing improv for a long time. I love being on stage. I don't care. Money or not. Even making the videos that I make right now, people don't really understand as a new comic in this age. Like editing, filming, like that shit takes time. And I still got a job. I'm a dad, and I'm still doing open mics. I'm going to improv practice, improv shows, and I'm just like doing comedy shows. Like people don't understand how much time and effort, and I'm not getting paid to do none of this.
I
It's out of my
It's the
own
love.
It's purely passion. You move through it. It's passion.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're doing it solely because you want to make people feel good and feel better, you're in it for the right reason.
That's exactly how I feel.
Yep.
Exactly how I
You know what I'm
feel.
saying?
It's easy to drive someone, but like I'm not gonna lie. I got overzealous. I want to say about a month ago, and I was like, man, I really want to. Things are starting to open back up a little bit. I want to experience something outside of Columbus. I've been going to Columbus open mics. I'm just overzealous because me and Kenny was talking one time. He was telling me, man, I used to go to West Virginia and do 5 minutes, and like I don't, you know, I'm in a place where financially I can go do that. I can go somewhere and stay for 2 or 3 days. I just want to get on stage. I love being on stage.
Right.
So I said I'm gonna go to Chicago, and I'm gonna try to get these open mics. So my plan is I'm gonna get there on Thursday. I'm gonna do 3 open mics on Thursday. I'm gonna go on Friday. I'm going to Staten Island. I'm gonna go.
How many?
Yeah. Ask me how that.
How'd it go?
Horrible. And I was like, no, that's not good. I wasn't
Prepared.
I was not prepared. You know, because Chicago comedy is different.
It definitely is.
It's different.
Well,
Especially in
it's a big city. They sing Bernie Mac and Cheryl and Adele giving everybody.
True, that
It's
too,
a
but
big
I also
city.
feel like it's a big city because you still got the black side of comedy in Chicago.
Yeah.
And you got the
The
white
white.
side. It's the deadpan side.
Mhm.
I was on the deadpan side. I never been in front of a deadpan crowd before.
Right.
And I'm still learning what my voice even is.
Uh-huh.
So my delivery, what I'm saying, my dumb ass got up here and did a joke about gas. They don't drive in Chicago.
No.
That's a bad joke to do.
Everybody's on the
But I
clock.
learned that. I didn't know
Yeah.
that before I got on stage. I learned you got to
It's
get
the
out
era.
where you at.
Yeah.
Doing a joke about cars in Chicago don't make no sense.
Yeah.
Even though you in your mind like everybody had a car, we in Chicago, that ain't gonna resonate with me right now. But my point is, I got overzealous. I went to Chicago, but it was a learning experience for me. And that just meant I need to stay home and get seasons before you start trying to venture out too far outside your roots.
There you go.
And being funny, because I'm not funny university.
Right.
Let me get funny.
You gotta get your Lowrys and your Mrs. Dash on you first.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Because I know we used to, like the Funny Bone, we used to always go to be contest after it's in Columbus, contest after contest, and I would get in the contest, and I remember the one contest I got in, I was in the finals. I was so hyped. I get up there and I started talking, and I forget all my lines. I forgot everything. See, my whole brain. And Keith was like, "What did you say?" And then I was like, "Where'd the hamburger come?" I was like, "I never even want to joke about no hamburger."
No doubt.
I was like, "All right, man, that's it."
I like making people feel good, man.
Yep.
That's why, you know, I used to sell drugs when I got into comedy, because I still wanted to make people feel good. So I sold dope at first. You know what I mean? I was trying to, I wanted to make people feel good. But then I didn't want to mess back people up for selling drugs, so I got into comedy. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I got to switch this up. You know what I mean? I like to make people feel good, but hey, drugs not the way. You know what I'm saying? So I got into stand-up, and I went to an open mic. The guy said, "How long you been doing comedy?" I said, "About 2 years." I lied to him. It was my first time on stage. He said, "You want to host a professional show this weekend?" I said, "Yeah, I can do that." I was a paid comic my second time ever on stage. 3 years later, I was on Comic View. On Comic View, coast to coast. And that next year, 4 years later, I was in California doing the show live.
How did you do that posting show? How did that show?
Yeah, I was ready. I was ready. My first time on stage, I did 20 minutes. My first time ever on stage, on open mic. You know what I'm saying? And my brother, I crushed it. Why do you think dude asked me to get up and host the show that we did? I didn't do bad. Nobody gives you a job if you do bad. You know what I mean? Yeah, so, I mean, you know.
I did a horrible one.
I've been telling jokes and just, you know, growing up in selling volumes in the project, and I was always funny. You know, comedy was innate for me. I never tried to be a comic. You know what I'm saying? But I was always funny. I always had a great sense of humor, and I would be the one cracking all the jokes on everybody in the project around the green box. Kids used to want to try to sneak out the house and stuff because it'd be late. They hear us all laughing and stuff. They trying to sneak out the house. They get whoopings and shit trying to come in here and me. You know what I'm saying? On the green box, and I got the whole project around, and I'm cracking on everybody. I'm talking like everybody. You know, and you know what I'm saying. So it was just you know, I did 20 minutes my first time ever on stage, and killed. I did impressions and everything. My first time ever.
What was your first, like, what was the scene like back when y'all first started? You got started a long time ago, but what was the scene like what was your first time being on stage back then?
Well, I wanted to be a versatile comic, so I would do salons on Wednesday.
That was on Livingston Avenue. Hamilton and Livingston. Yeah, that was my room.
Okay.
Really rough.
So I would go there and bomb on Wednesday. We'll get my bomb out the way. And I always had to go first. Steve would go up.
Because I was hosting.
Kill for 20 minutes and then bring me up. And I'm crying laughing before I go up and bomb. So that right there, then I would go do campus. We had the Northburg. What's the other one?
What is it? Starling Rex.
Yeah, Starling Rex.
Oh yeah, I remember those things.
Other little spots around Columbus. I did a cafe in Grove City. In a coffee shop.
Yeah, I remember.
It had to be clean.
Yeah.
And then I would go do the funny bone. So just.
And that Wednesday night is what really tightened you up, didn't it?
Yep. And I just felt like if I can make them laugh at that room, I can make them laugh anyway.
How long do you think it took you to bond in that room on Wednesday before you started to catch your stride and start turning around and making people laugh?
That first big joke.
It was that one night.
He told me about it. I'm cracking up.
It's a specific night you remember when like you best about. It's like the game slowed down for you.
I had this one joke that I did, and they laughed for like 30 seconds. And I stood up there because you could hear the laughter go around the room, and Steve was in the back clapping like this.
Was it a joke you had done before or been doing the whole time and you just got good at it? Or was this a new joke that you tried?
It was just something new I tried, and they laughed. And you know when black people say hell no. And I was like, oh, this is what it feels like to be accepted. Oh.
And it just clicked for you at that point.
Yeah.
Just like how to write and all that.
And that feeling.
Well, we had been going, having writing sessions and stuff, you know what I mean? And so he was steady, just grinding, you know what I mean? And then it took maybe, a few months?
Yeah.
A few months ago. So it only took you a few months before you figured out, I want to say your divorce, so I'm going to take a while to figure out your divorce, but before you caught that stride, like, oh, yeah, this is how to start in that room, and how to start.
Yeah. Yeah. And after the show, I recorded every show we did. We would go back to D'Amico's place
And watch him.
and Steve, and that's when they would be like, look at you.
Critiquing the shit out of
Look
him.
at you, you're pacing. It's like
So
you're
that's the only thing I feel like right now you don't necessarily have with my generation. I guess you would call it the
Yeah.
Columbus.
Uh-huh.
I feel like when I see Kenny and Jason, like y'all been doing this for a long time, and I see y'all just hearing the stories that y'all have in camaraderie. Outside of the fact that y'all would see each other at open mics, y'all would study together.
Oh, yeah.
It's almost like how I think about it is, it's like when you do comedy, it's a muscle, right?
Yep.
It's a muscle. So when you write, you're working out.
Mhm.
Even for me, when I'm making a video and I'm writing a funny script, I'm working out. When I go on stage, I'm working out. When I go to improv and do training and I'm on stage, I'm working out. It's working that comedic muscle, right? Y'all would work out together. It's like have a workout partner.
No doubt.
And like my generation is like we all in the gym trying to bench press 315 by ourselves.
Yeah.
A lot. You know,
With
a lot
no
of comedians
spotter.
With no spotter. That's
Yeah.
what it feels like right now. That's what I envy about y'all so much. Is that y'all can see like, man, we have writing sessions.
Hell yeah.
Because you and Jason now, y'all, I feel like y'all talk and do stuff all the time. You don't really have that, man. Or it's not. It's one of those things where, for me, it's frustrating because my ambition and passion and my sense of urgency with trying to be a great comedian is so high. And you got a lot of lazy comedians that are in my generation that they only come to Red Rock on Wednesday.
I don't even call it comedian.
Not even comedians, just comedy. They only come to Red Rock
They're
on
comics,
Wednesday.
and they like
comedy.
comedy.
Or they hit up Shark Head on Friday. It was like, bro, I'm doing comedy
They just
every
hang out.
single day, but I don't have nobody with that same ambition. And it's the older comics, but these guys, they in Tampa on weekend. They hear this weekend. You guys are on stage in other cities, but y'all built that foundation to be able to go on your own and do that.
Oh, yeah.
Like, man, that's what makes it so tough for us right now in this generation of others. It's kind of hard to find somebody to connect with.
Yeah, but it's the coolest thing is like just bouncing stuff off of you. Because I mean, I'll bounce it off Keith. I'll call, okay, Keith, what do you think about
What
this?
do you think?
Yeah, what do you think? He's like, oh, add this. It'll be
Add
great,
this,
this.
add that.
And we said,
I was doing it the same way.
yeah, the same way. I'm like, yo, and I said, I used to envy Keith because they would say, used to go to salons. He was under Stevie G. I was like, man, I wish I was in that, but I know I would have been there bombing just as bad as Keith.
But you know what, man? I tell people, I learned so much in that room because that was the first time when you feel that feeling of
Euphoria.
nothing is working. And it's like you go into like self-destruct mode. Like, what am I gonna say now? What am I gonna? How am I gonna get out of this? And I never felt that before. So, and I mean, they're not giving out polite laughs or sympathy laughs. They just looking at you.
And that can help but build you. That can help but build
You
you.
don't learn from that.
Right.
I'll try to I would never, I don't know why, I've been in, obviously it's a new comedy, you get a lot of dry spots, but you're still learning. I don't know what it was about that one night in Chicago that just burned a hole in my soul to say, when I come back here, it's going to be good.
But that's good though that you
You know what I'm
experienced
saying?
that.
It is, like I said, I learned. I learned number one, know your audience. Even though I know to know my audience is coming from an improv stage, you look and see who the crowd, what you can, what you should and should do, what you think would be funny. But just being in that room, and granted, it was a room full of comics, but it's just the feeling like I came all the way here to do this. And I was like, I won't experience that again. I'm going to work hard enough. And the next time Chicago sees me, everybody here will be like,
There you go. There you go.
That's my
Because who you want to really, really impress is the person who's paying.
correct. Yeah.
Even if you're doing it free that night, the person who's paying is watching.
Right.
Trust me.
And you never know who's in the crowd.
You never know who's in the crowd. Never. So, I mean, you're only as funny as your last show. You can't, like, I killed him last month. Okay, them people didn't see you that's here tonight. You got killed tonight, too.
Right.
You know, you can't ride off last week's show. I know a lot of people, man, I was at the Funny Bone last night, and there were 300 people, man, but tonight, I'm here with y'all. Okay, yeah, all right.
And that's how it goes, like, especially like on the road, like if you were like even featured or a headliner, you may have 3 shows on a Saturday. You may have a 7 o'clock, 9:15, you may have a 10:30 or something crazy like that, and you might kill on the first show, the next show will be like, oh, that didn't go as well. You'd be like, what happened? And then the late show, it might be another day, because they are drunk, you thinking, now you're in your head. You're in your head the whole time, you're like, oh.
Like, see, how do you fight that? Like, say you got, like, y'all just did this last weekend.
Yeah.
3 or 4 shows, right?
Yeah.
And obviously, I won't say obviously, my logic is every crowd at a certain time is going to be
Sure,
right?
sure.
How do you adjust how you going to deliver and come out? Or do you even adjust how you come out when it comes like your 7 o'clock
I
out
adjust
versus
on the
10
fly.
o'clock out?
I adjust on the fly, on the stage. There's no way to adjust before you go out there because you don't know what's going to happen before you get out there. So you have to adjust on the fly while you're on stage. Like, oh, that is, let me go over here. Let me shoot that there. Then you're just shooting shit out, and then when something catches, oh, that's what they like. Bam.
Right.
Let me give you this then, since you like spaghetti. I got all kind of pasta over there for you. Shit. Yeah, you gotta adjust on the fly. Because you can't gauge the audience just by looking at them. You don't know.
Yeah.
Right.
I've had white crowds that just were the best crowds, some black crowds that were just the best crowds, and then vice versa. You know, so you don't know. You don't know.
Right. I always thought that scene, I'm not at that stage yet where I'm still good in my life, right? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
sure.
I'm like, the thought of like a 7 o'clock show might be a little dry versus a 9 o'clock show, and vice versa. Like, how would you?
Well, try to keep the same energy.
Yeah.
Right.
Always.
Yeah.
You know, because if you're a boxer and there was 6 people in the audience, you're not going to go out there half-ass and say, the 6 people out here. You still going to try to knock this dude out. Why? Because he's trying to knock you out. So you're going to go out there, you ain't worried about the audience. You're going to yeah. So it's the same thing with any crowd. You're in a battle with him. So you want to win. I don't care what size the crowd is, you want to win.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because like he just said, you don't know who's in that 6 people. You don't know one of them to be. I've been approached by so many people out there. Say, like, hey man, I'm getting married at so-and-so. Dude flew me out to Puerto Rico. I thought he was lying and everything. I was like, yeah, right. No, I'm getting married in Puerto Rico next year, and I want you to be. That mother called me about 8 months later, like, hey man, you still? Hell yeah, I'm still up for that. Are you crazy?
Or you can have like a movie director. You can have anybody in the audience. So that's what I say. You always do your best, man. Just go out there,
Always do your best. Always same speed. Same speed.
That's what I'm trying to learn. Man. Sometimes like doing open mics.
Sometimes it's hard.
Yeah,
it is. You gotta dig deep. You gotta dig deep.
Yeah, I'm learning because I feel like it's like when you play basketball, like you be real good at basketball, you play with a bunch of shitty people.
Bums.
You start playing like a bum.
Yeah.
I know I'm this good, but I shouldn't be playing. That's how I feel. Open mic sometimes the energy be so low and people people. But I feel like
it's easy to play down to it too.
Correct. Yeah, it's real easy because you're playing with bums. It's like you don't do it on purpose,
right?
But you don't put as much effort as you would if you was playing with somebody that was giving you buckets. Like, okay, now I gotta play for real now. That's how I feel when the energy is high at an open mic, or you got certain people in the crowd, like you're trying. My energy is high, and sometimes when it's like for example, like yesterday, like I felt you be telling me this, like it was not like the joke was what it was, which was monotone. I keep subconsciously doing that.
Conviction.
My conviction is bad because I'm like the energy in here. It's dead. I don't know what to do, But I'm learning to just do it the same anyway. Like it's the same energy. That's what's.
You know what I would do? What I used to do? And when it was like that, and I would have to muster up, like, damn, I gotta go out here, because I ain't got anything,
Yeah.
I would go out and talk loud first. What up? Like I'm hyped, like I'm up, and then after you start getting them, then you can calm down. Then you don't have to talk as loud. They listening. I would come out like it's 300 people, and it's hard, like you said, you gotta play down to it. So I would come out talking loud. You know what I mean? Like I'm hyped, like I'm, you know what I'm saying? And they would be like, "Damn, nigga, I like what?" You know, so.
I get what you're saying. Yeah. It's like, it's almost like, we do this thing in improv, it's called mirroring. And you don't realize that you're doing it. So in improv, we do on stage. If you don't know what somebody's about to do, you just mirror them. And when you mirror them, sometimes it gives you inspiration about what the next move or the next thing. Because it's improv, you don't know what they're going to say or do.
Right.
But the crowd is the same thing. So like, when you come out, your energy is like, whatever it's going to be, the crowd mirrors you. So you basically trying to be mirrored. Like, you want the crowd to be on your time.
No doubt.
You want the crowd to be on your time, and that's why you like, you come out and swing first. Now, okay, now
That's
the
right.
crowd's like, oh.
Because they see you as Mr. They're going to receive that too, like, nah, well, nigga, nah, well at all.
Yeah, see,
That's how we put it. We ready for some jokes is what we're ready for. You know, don't even, you know what I mean?
Yeah, Steve used to say, hey, make them come up to you. Don't jump down there. Yeah, he said, come up to you. That's what he used to always say. Like, hey, make them come up to you.
That makes so much sense.
Yeah.
See, when you break stuff, when you around people like the way y'all can break stuff down, people like you, being a new comic. Now I feel like I'm ready to go do open mic right now because I feel like, you know what I'm saying, like just hearing your analogy. I've never heard nobody give me the analogy of like, you gotta hit them first. It was all my mind was always you on the defense. Right. You gotta play to the crowd. Like the crowd is gonna make the comedian, and it's like, no, you make the crowd.
Right.
I never.
Right.
That was just like an aha moment.
Right. And then once their energy is building on you, then you feed off of that.
Right. So yeah.
Don't just go off what they going. No. You want to raise them up because then that energy that you're gonna get from them after you done raise them up,
yeah.
how you gonna kill? Because you got everybody on the edge of your seat, like I said. And when they're eating at your hand, oh my God, keep saying it 1,000 times. I could have pulled out sunflower seeds. Eat. Seriously.
I mean, in everything was work. I mean,
Everything.
I remember his set, and I can tell him every joke that he did that night. Even though it's been like 10, 12 years ago. I'm watching like, I'm sitting back here in the maze like, oh my
everything
God.
out his mouth is butter.
Yeah.
Like, damn.
It's like he was looking at I'm like, oh my God.
I can tell y'all this, when I first started coming to salons, I had never seen or heard of Steve, and he was murdering when, I mean, everybody crying, and I'm just like in amazement, like, who is this dude? And I'm lucky enough that he even took me under his wing.
Man, I appreciate it. That's high praise, man.
That's really
That's high praise.
And that makes a big difference for you and your career. You move forward with how you became acclimated to being as good as you are now. You know, just having that tutelage is so important.
That's very important.
It's so important, man. And that's what I've been yearning for that since I've started. Just because I'm like, man, I know how vital it is having a body. Because this is even as a new comic, I feel like there's a lot I can't say in the midst of your conversations. I'm still learning, but I can't say is I do understand this is not for the weak hearted. Like you can't lack tough skin
And that's why there are so many ex-comics.
Exactly, 100%. But I also feel like in life in general, when you chasing anything, you don't have to like cultivate an environment. Like we're human. Like you're mentally gonna break down at some point.
You're gonna break down.
You don't have a crush of some sort, whether it be that mentor to tell you, man, get your ass back on stage. Bomb 5 nights in a row, go bomb 6. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You gotta have somebody gonna tell you to keep going because you know that night number 7 might be your night.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's gonna be, and that one good night you be like, oh, I can do this, right? But if you don't got that person to tell you or help you or write with you or show you something outside of your own mental boundary, you'll die fast. I see that, you know what I'm saying? That's why I mean,
Just talking about this before the show, about how having each other's back, camaraderie, we've always been around each other, and I was just telling him, I was like, from day one, once I met Steven, once I met Keith, once I met Kenny, y'all have always had my back. Once I call y'all answer, you come through. I can call y'all anytime. And I just told Keith, I said, Keith was like me, you know, he gave me his advice, motivation, and I said, at this point of doing SlapStik, I know who's down for me, and I know who I want to work with at this point. Like, I know what I want to do in SlapStik. I got a passion and a plan to move forward with the people that have always had my back, and that's what we got to do.
Absolutely.
And I love y'all.
That's what it's all about. We love you back.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it's all about. It's about giving.
Yep.
Like I told the audience a couple of weeks ago, you can break people down in like 3 different types of people in the world, and then it's the opposite of that.
Right.
They're believers,
Yep.
there are givers, and there are lovers. Now, what's the opposite of a believer? A disbeliever. What's the opposite of a giver? A taker. And what's the opposite of a lover? A hater.
Right.
So you got loving, giving believers on this side. You got disbelieving, taking haters on this side. And that, everybody almost fits into that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Everybody. And I mean, even in comedy, you're going to find assholes.
Right.
There's a bunch of assholes that stand up. I mean, my first show, I was lucky. My first show that I did after Andrew Ford said, you want to host a show? Bam. It was Doodle Brown and Zoo-Man. I got so much advice and everything. Doodle Brown took me out, man, it was so, I was lucky that it was them two. You know what I'm saying? Because I got so much advice from him, just kicking with him at night. You know what I mean? Man, and Doodle, I love Doodle to this day. Doodle Brown's a cold dude. You know what I'm saying? And Zoo-Man as well. But they was the first 2 guys that I ever worked with, you know? And they were not assholes, and they were giving, and they was black men, you know what I mean? They weren't no half a fag ass niggas, you know what I mean? There was some real straight up, like, bro, you got it, I'm telling you, all you got to do, boom, 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 bam, 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 and here we are. But have I met some assholes? Thousands.
Hell
Yeah. Hundreds of
And
them.
that's crazy you say Andrew Ford was the one that started you.
Yeah.
He the one that sent me to you.
Keep telling us that.
Because Bruce was at the Funny Bone. Andrew was outside the Funny Bone, and I was outside the Funny Bone. I asked him, I said, do you have any advice for somebody who wants to start doing comedy? He said, you want to do comedy? I said, yeah. He said, okay, go to this place called Salon.
and look up Stephen G. Find Stephen G.
Yep. He said, on Hamilton and Livingston, there's a dude in there named Stephen G. Tell him I sent you, and he'll take care of you.
Well, he was right about that, but
I walked in the door, I looked at Steve, and
Yeah.
Steve over there.
right, you didn't have to say Andrew's name though. Andrew had no favors coming from me, but you know, I'm only too happy to help young comics. I've always been like that. I don't know why other comics aren't like that. Other comedians,
Yeah.
seasoned guys. I mean, what you scared of? You scared somebody gonna take your place. That's what it is.
Like-
They're gonna be funnier than me. They're gonna get funnier than I am. Well, you're only one person. There's so many clubs. There's so many. You can't be everywhere at the same time.
Right.
It's enough for everybody. It really is.
I'm not gonna lie, when I saw, because I wasn't able to come last week. This is actually a blessing in disguise, though. 'Cause I wasn't able to come last week, because, the week before we had the power issue.
Yes.
Right.
And then last week, I had an improv show that ended up actually getting canceled. And I was like, dang, man, I could have did the show, but it was already too late. And I looked on the thing and we were posting on Facebook, and I saw him on the show.
Like,
I was like, that's God.
bingo.
Yeah, that's God.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't be on the show with anybody. And the fact that I got to sit on the show with some of the best Columbus comedians and veterans, just listening to y'all talk and their stories, and hear, just learning all the stuff that I learned today, and just the aha moment I had. I'm like, God continuously shows me what my purpose is. Even with my stuff on Instagram. Because it's crazy, because like even with, like I told you, I'm like doing stuff as a, I guess in this generation of comedy, doing stuff with social media really helps build your audience.
Sure.
And I'll pray like, man, I found my niche on Instagram, and it's been working for me. I'm always like, man, what's my videos? And sure enough, man, I'll get a message from somebody, man, you're coming, man, I said this to you, got me out there. I had a friend die from brain cancer, and you remind me of that friend, and thank you so much. Like, messages like that is like, oh,
That's the most
Yeah.
beautiful feeling, man.
this is why.
You are healing people, man.
This is why we do it. And then I ended up on this show, because I'm looking at like, man, I'm gonna be able to talk. Not because like they're gonna overpower me. It's just like I know how I am when I'm around other comedians who are seasoned. I don't like talking because I like to listen and hear what they gotta say. I just want to be in the room. I don't have to say nothing. And I'm like, man, look at the people I got to sit on the show today. Let me further know.
Right.
And I'm walking around back. You know what I'm saying? Man, I can't put that up. Just talking amongst yourselves. I ain't even talking to you.
Yeah, comedy.
I'm learning something.
You know, comedy always it peaks and valleys with comedy. Peaks and valleys, peaks and valleys. It always has, man. But the cream will always rise to the top.
Right.
It's going to always be an influx of new people. It's always going to be an influx of new promoters or whatever. And they're going to try to do stuff differently.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they don't want to mess with the seasoned vets because they don't want to pay us.
Right.
You know, they want to, well, I can still get the show. I can put the asses in the seats and use these guys.
Mm-hmm.
Use 6 of them. They only got 15 minutes apiece, but I can use 6 or 7 of them, and they don't care about the quality of the show.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Peaks and valleys. It always come back because eventually the audience will understand that they're cheating.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when you have the Kings of Comedy, and I see his face, or mine, or Jack Shepard's, and you got Kings of Comedy in Columbus going on, and you've done it about 5 or 6, 7 times, and I've never seen one of these gone, like, okay, you know, that'll fade out, that'll fade. That's not going to last. It's not going to last.
I don't even consider myself nothing.
Yeah, but it's not going to last. You know what I mean?
Me neither. Like,
Watch.
I don't even, like, I wouldn't even
call myself a king.
I feel you. I think it would take 20 years to be called that, you know, at least.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
cause I owe a lot of, I mean, everything, like even to Keith, because like whatever he learned from Steve, Keith would always, he would pass it right down to me.
Right.
And then when I have a lot of short conversations with Steve, it just reiterates everything, and everything just ties into a nice little bow. And I'm like, okay, I need to go ahead and keep this conviction up. And every time I'm on stage, I'm like, conviction, you gotta have conviction. And I said, I hold on to that. And like seriously, because it seems like you gotta have conviction.
That's right.
You
You
gotta
can't
bring
be on
it in.
stage like, yeah, and I was mad as hell. Yeah, I was mad as hell.
You see?
You got to, even if you don't, yeah, I was mad as a motherfucker. Like, come on now. Were you mad? I can't tell.
I'm telling you, man, I don't know where I would be if I hadn't started.
Well, I'm glad Andrew said you different. You know, because he couldn't have put you up. Couldn't have put it himself.
What I thought was funny, the stuff I tried to say on stage, I thought was funny. No, I was like, whew, won't be saying that again.
I'll let him take that in for the night. You hear that?
Steve, like, give it up for KBD, yo, give it up. That's what he writing. That's what he writing.
He's a writer. He's a writer.
That's what's up.
Yes, indeed. Man, it's so dope to hear these stories. This is what I think about your content.
Oh man, we had so much fun. I mean,
That's what it sounds. I feel like I'm having fun thinking about y'all having fun. Like,
Right.
you know what I mean? It just seemed like y'all had such a good time. But more importantly, everybody was on the same level of passion.
there we go.
You know what I'm saying?
And trying to get everybody up to speed. I was trying to get everybody up to speed. Him and D'Amico, I wanted them to get up to speed. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I totally wanted them to get up to speed. Like, you don't know how this shit feels.
Right.
It's absolutely euphoric. Like, oh my God, when you get this feeling, you ain't never gonna want to leave me alone. You know what I'm saying? I used to take D'Amico on the road with me. He would bomb and not want to go to the after party. I'm like, no. No, you come on. Don't be trying to go back to the hotel room. No, we're going to the after party. Come on.
No, the one story that Keith always tells me, it was like when they mixed up you and D'Amico, like,
In Cincinnati.
dude, I crack up every time I hear that story.
And Gary Owen called D'Amico on the stage first. And D'Amico was like, oh, no, he didn't. I'm like, go on, man, go on. This do your shit. First, when he gets out there, he steps on the mic cord. Because in Cincinnati, you know, they got the foot in the floor. You know, in the stage, it's in the floor. So the guy got to come out the back and put it back in and shit. And all that stuff. Oh, it was, he followed me. Now, at the Freakazoid.
Woo! That's what he said.
Yeah.
He said the crowd was going, shot.
You in there, Johnny. And the whole Cincinnati Beatles were there.
Oh, shit.
Half of the Cincinnati Bearcat basketball team was there. That's when my man was Kenyon Martin was married to Trina. I don't think they were married yet, but they were together. Trina was there. I mean, it was packed. D'Amico, like, it's the worst time to go behind you with all these well done, and I mean the whole Cincinnati Bengals, you know, were in there. And Gary called me first, and D'Amico was like, I was like, don't worry.
You wanted to follow me someday.
Follow me sometime.
Yeah.
You know, come on. It's going to only make you stronger, you know. But I wasn't with that. But I went up there and worked it, and he said, man, you got everybody hurting their hands. And it sounded like a concert. I'm like, niggas always roll bunt, meat pork, do that bad pork. And then when I got the power to in there, because I'm making them fat with it. It was sick, and I'm like, all right, y'all, that's my time, Stephen G. The crowd goes crazy. The crowd goes bananas. Trina and all of them jump up, woo, screaming and shit. And we were like, man, I was ready to go to the bathroom and take a big break. Right here. He like, my stomach hurt right there. Yeah. That's the stuff that'll make you strong. Because I had to do that after Tony Roberts coming on. You know what I'm saying?
Tony Roberts.
In Detroit.
Everybody loves Tony.
I'm like, oh my God.
Tony is like, I've never seen you in like at like a show. I just met you recently at Red Rock.
Right.
But Tony is my all-time favorite comedian. When I say he's the one comedian, him and Sinbad, when I say Tony makes me laugh, he get on the stairs, I'm like, you know what I'm saying? And I say that metaphorically, but like, he makes me laugh the entire time. Just his delivery and everything. Just the energy, the delivery, the setup.
Everything.
I was like, man. I had to stop watching it when I first started getting on stage. So I was like, I'm trying to deliver like him and everything like that.
And I'll tell you how phenomenal Tony is. He don't write jokes all the way out, just the premise.
Really?
Just premise.
And
He cold.
That just answered my question. How you get to the end of the day? He's just good.
That's his style. That's his style. He's cold.
And Tony will help you. Like he'll watch your set and he'll come back and just give you some pointers on it. Like, hey, this is how you should do this.
You know when you say that, you should be like, so and so.
Yeah.
You know, you know.
I love
good
that.
brother, man.
I love
He's a
that.
good brother. Yeah.
Man,
He's one of my favorites. He's always been. And then he would bring like he would bring double lamb to overflowing, and I've seen these guys stink before, like, you know what I'm saying? Double lamb. I used to see them stink the place up. Martini Harris, Tony used to bring him. Several of them, several of them.
You said like they weren't that good.
Not right. Now they're killers. You know what I'm saying?
See, that's what I'm saying, man. I feel like we don't really have nobody like that. They're just like, I don't care. They see the potential. He saw the potential in them, and he was taking it serious, and he wanted to give them opportunity to build that foundation. Whether they sucked or not, he knew that they were serious. But we ain't really got nothing like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like a lot of comedians, they just don't do stuff like that. You know what I mean? It's like, I wish I had somebody to do that.
Well, there's not a lot of real people, they're just not real people. I call them, they're not genuine. You know what I'm saying? You're not a genuine person. For real, because you feel like it's going to take away from you.
Right.
To give somebody something, you feel like it's going to take away from you.
Yeah.
You know?
'Cause I've given away lots of jokes anyway. Like I know it wasn't my style. I'm like on the road, I thought the movie was funny. I was like, hey, you can have this, take this. And I always, like you said, once you give something away, I get like 5 to 6 new jokes in the mind and come up again. I'm like, all right, these are even better. Yeah. So this is my style. But I like acting out stuff, and I always seen Steve doing it, and then Keith does it tremendously. I mean, it's just the whole act out on stage. It gives me a lot of energy. So
being theatrical is way better than just standing up there and delivering it. Because if you're describing it and you're going, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. You're painting a better picture for the audience. You want the real ass, paint the picture better. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
That's what it's about. Acting it out. I think, I don't know. The way I've always done stand-up, I just can't stand up there and just deliver it, and then not move and all that. I got to be, if it was up there, it was up there. It was all the way down there. I got, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I got to act it out. I have to.
Then you take it as like you use a lot of personal stories and stuff like in yours, like when you come on material.
Sure, but I embellish them, of course.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm definitely going to embellish them.
Yeah.
Because, right. When I do the mom and daddy get in the fight, Now, my daddy ain't punched my sister in, in the stomach and make her pee in blood, you know what I mean? But that's an embellishment.
It happened in the story.
Yeah, and people be coming up to me, did that really happen? I'm coming on, almost. Almost.
What was the joke you did? I remember you did it at Salon. I never seen you do it anywhere else. You said it was a dude in a wheelchair.
Oh, in the club.
In the club, and people was walking over him. And you actually walked over the chair like it was somebody in the.
And it was this dude in the wheelchair in the club. They started fighting.
Look how he's in the chair.
They start fighting in the club. And the dude was in a wheelchair, nephew. You know what I'm saying? Dude in a wheelchair. He can't. These women start stepping over and going outside. Wait a minute, hold on. And he was everybody just stepping over this dude. I said, oh man, look at this.
I never ever forgot that.
I had to say the same. They're just stepping in his lap, which is like, whoa, whoa, whoa. About 15 dudes.
They was hollering.
Man.
Is there anything too personal that you think you can't take to the stage?
No.
Like it happened? No.
Nothing. We're common. That's why I'm glad I'm not with any agency or anything like that, because I'm not apologizing for nothing I say.
Right.
You know, those big people will get to, hey, we need you to go on ABC, NBC, CB, and say sorry to all the gay community, okay? Because you said the gay joke the other night, and we're getting a lot of calls about that, and I'm not apologizing for shit to nobody. You know what I'm saying? This is what comedy is supposed to be about. Like it or lick it. You know what I'm saying? You could get it to leave, you don't like it. You know what I'm saying? Don't make me apologize for my convictions. I feel this way. Don't make me apologize for that. You know what I'm saying? I'm not homophobic or anything, but I grew up saying fag. You know what I'm saying? I remember you could ask somebody, like, is you a fag? They'd be like, yeah, yo. You know, we're telling the truth. You know what I'm saying? We ain't trying to make no funny about,
Right.
you're a fag. We didn't say you gay. We said the word fag. You know what I'm saying? But now you can't say the word fag. No, you're not going to tell me what I can say and what I can't say.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Cancel culture makes it tough nowadays. Cancel culture is so.
Well, they only have power if you're underneath one of those people who going to listen to the cancel culture. I'm not listening to that shit. You know what I'm saying? You're not going to tell me what to say, what I'm not going to say. And I felt so bad for Kevin Hart and Tracy Morgan when they said those things, and then they had to go on the I'm sorry tour.
Right, yeah.
I felt so bad for them. You're a comic, man. This is your opinion, man. Come on now. You can't be robbed of your opinion. No one can tell you, okay, don't say it that way, if that's offensive to somebody. Shut the fuck up. You ain't going to tell me what's offensive to somebody. I'm not trying to offend people, but I'm going to say things how I'm going to, I'm going to say what I feel.
Right.
You know? I mean, that's the part of being a comic.
Like I was telling Keith, like somebody told me that she got offended because I do a joke about playing basketball, but I sit the bench playing basketball, and the only thing I do is come in and play defense, and I said I'm playing against defense against a dude that has two lazy eyes. I said, you know how hard it is to stick somebody with two lazy eyes? I mean, this dude has like 76 assists against me. Every pass is a no-look pass. I mean,
I'm not very good.
and I'm thinking and somebody's like, oh, that's so abusive. I was like, oh my God, man. I was like, all right, well, maybe I want this side.
It's so jokish.
Yeah.
That's what I would say. When someone say that, man, that was offensive, I said it was jokish too. That's what it was. Now take the jokish part and just leave the rest alone.
Right.
I think it's so funny about when people say certain things are offensive. The people that it's about are never offended.
No, it's somebody else that takes offense.
You know what I'm saying?
It's like we talk about cripple, they walk fine. Hey, you shouldn't have said that about the cripples.
Right.
You walk fine. Go sit your ass down.
Right.
You're not crippled.
Exactly.
You know,
it's always the other people.
Yeah. It's people think they're empowered now for some reason. I don't understand it, but I'm going to continue doing comedy the way I see it. I'm going to write the way I see it. I don't write to offend people. But if something comes out and somebody finds that offensive, so what? I'm not changing that.
Right.
Until William and Maurice, I'm under there, you know what I'm saying? And they're booking me for $5,000 shows all the time. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it.
Yeah, that is what's tough, especially on social media. So people basically catching us too with his stuff. But even me, it sucks because I really wish I wish the era of being able to do and say what you wanted like that.
We're still
like Eddie
yeah,
Murphy,
yeah,
Richard
yeah.
Pryor, like if they was to do those specials now, them shit would never
No,
be
because
there.
Eddie Murphy said fag. Remember,
Oh,
real
yeah.
fag on top of the car. Woo, woo.
Yeah,
You remember?
it's different, but now even when I do skits and stuff, like I start being conscious. I'm like,
Yeah.
you know, and I feel like it
So
holds
bad.
me back.
It
like,
does. It
Because
does.
like how I would deliver a joke. Because like for example, if I say like I was writing a skit and I was like, oh that bitch had more teeth than a gray white, which sounds better to me. I swear to God, she had more teeth than a gray white. You know what I mean? When you
Yeah.
start getting into nuances, it sounds better. Do I really think women are bitches? Like no.
No,
But
right.
it sounds funnier when I say it that way.
Yeah.
But it's a lot of women out there that be like, look, why you calling women bitch? Especially with all the people that like my posts, and you always get those 5 people that start a fight. You know what I mean? And I hate that I hate that I gotta think that way. Whereas in your era, it's like we say whatever we want to say. When it came, if a kid was retarded, he retarded.
Right.
And the kid that's retarded gonna think it's funny.
And somebody's going to be offended by something.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I did the one joke and about going to pick up a girl for a date, and she came out with a beard, and I drove off.
Yeah, yeah.
And I said it was the right thing to do too, but this bitch threw the beer at the car. And then I said, I know this bitch didn't graduate from nowhere. And somebody like that. You finna think you graduate. Bitch, if you don't go on till you didn't graduate, go sit down somewhere or back to school. Go on back to school here.
I just think people, if you sensitive, you shouldn't come.
You shouldn't come to the
You shouldn't.
You shouldn't.
Stay in home.
And one thing I won't do is pick out somebody in the audience and talk about them. I'm not gonna look at you, hey, so and so and so, I'm not gonna do that. All this is coming from here. I'm not gonna come and look and put my set together off the audience.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm not directly talking about anybody. I don't do that. You know what I'm saying? So to say I was offended by something you thought of 3 months ago, then go to bed. Go to bed. That's how I feel. That's how I feel. You know, until I'm getting 100,000 and stuff like that, then no.
Right.
And I don't know if I would even go on an apology tour like that. I don't know. I really don't. You know, money don't mean that much to me. You know what I'm saying? I can make it in a lot of different ways. You know what I'm saying? I don't have to sell my soul or go on an apology tour. You know what I'm saying? I'm saying I'm sorry to all the fags. No, I'm not sorry for saying fag. I mean, I'm not homophobic. I don't have anything against you. You know what I'm saying? But if I say fag, don't think I'm going to come around and, hey, sorry, fags. I'm not going to do that. I'm sorry. I'm a grown man. I grew up saying fag. I'm not going to relax my more for no amount of money and stuff. You just go say sorry on all of the TV shows.
Right.
No. I'm not doing that. I won't be out of Hollywood so fast, probably. Seriously, because I'm not going to compromise my integrity and my morals. I'm not going to do it for anybody. God is watching. I'm a very spiritual person. You know what I'm saying? And I cannot sell like, no. God gave me this conviction. And nobody is going to try to take that away or tamp it down. No. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Y'all feel the same?
Yep.
Yeah. No apologies.
No apologies.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I don't set out to hurt people's feelings. I don't talk about the audience. Have you ever seen me crack on a crowd? I got my own material. That's what I want. I'm like, you write material. I want everybody to say they had fun. And I don't want somebody looking at me like, yeah, you should have, you know, like you have picked on them. Like Steve Brown down south, when the guy gets on stage, they fighting and everything because he done talked about the war.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't do people like that. You don't know what somebody's going through. You're trying to build them up, not tear them down. They're paid to see you. Now you're going to tear the audience down? Come on.
Right.
This was a great show. I wrote a whole outline, didn't ask any questions. We didn't take a comedy break. We didn't take a 10-minute comedy break. We
That's how
usually,
you know it's a good show.
this is a great show. It's flow. And guess what? It's already 8:45. Yes, can you believe that? I know.
That was a good
Great.
conversation.
Yeah, no doubt.
Great conversation. So I want to know, is there anything that y'all want the audience to know? Do you have any shows coming up or anything going on?
Well, I've been MCing at the Philharmonic,
Nice.
just oiling my gears, getting back into it.
Right. Getting back ready after the the pandemic.
Are you going back on the cruise ships again?
No.
You gonna take a break? Well, you're like 2023.
Well, they got to figure all that COVID shit
Yeah,
out
for
first.
sure.
Yeah.
Especially on the cruise
And
ship.
that's the reason why I'm not, because they say you have to be vaccinated.
Oh,
And I
yeah.
don't plan on getting vaccinated.
I don't either.
So yeah, they asked me and I was like, nah, you can put my calendar in the yellow.
Yeah.
I'm glad everybody is getting vaccinated, so I don't have to.
I feel, that's how I feel too, because I'm not.
It's like the flu thing, you know.
Yeah.
When it was real bad, I never got a flu shot.
I haven't either.
Ever.
Me neither.
Me neither.
And I don't plan to.
I'm a healthy person. I eat right,
Mhm.
and I don't trust the government. I'm sorry, I don't trust you to that extent. I'm sorry. And you give $1 million away, really?
Right.
You a lottery, really?
Right.
You never cared about nobody, people. You never cared about nobody, and now all of a sudden you're gonna get $1 million to vaccinate. No.
Yeah, I'm
No.
with you. Crazy.
I can't believe that. I just can't. I'm sorry. I'm like the Japanese when they were trying to give them a little thing to fight off the Agent Orange and stuff. They thought it was something bad. They would cut their arm off. Go to Japan right now. There's so many old people with from World War II that got one arm. That's why they did a whole lot of karate movies, the one-arm boxer, the one-arm bandit, the one-arm snake pit, the one-arm, it was a whole lot of one, because they would cut their arm off. They didn't trust what they were doing. They would shoot them up and they would go cut their arm off. Fight.
That is crazy.
I don't trust you after you did the syphilis pyramid and all that. No, I got it. And then he was like, oh, it's free healthcare, it's free. It's free. We're gonna take care of you. No, I can't trust that, man. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You dealt badly too long. You did no. I'm sorry. I don't think you care about me to that point.
Kenny, did you get vaccinated? Did you get your shot?
No.
Okay.
No. I mean, I believe in God, so I mean, I pray on it, and that's it. And then he say, "Hey, Kenny, go get vaccinated," and I'll go get vaccinated. But if I don't hear nothing, if he don't tell me like, "Yo, go get it," then I'm not gonna get it. So yeah.
So that makes 4 of us. Maurice,
That's not
Mo,
trusting.
yeah.
I did get it.
I knew somebody in here did.
I'm just not trusting like that, man.
I'm not. You know,
not.
at first I wasn't. I work in so I'm in pharmaceutical sales.
Oh, okay.
Part of it. Yeah. So part of it was my job is because I'm in it. So I work in addiction sciences.
Okay.
So I'm in and out of addiction clinics all day. And you know the addiction population, it's not really the same population from a health perspective.
Can you get your hands on anything?
well, the drug that I represent is a drug that helps people get off. They help. So I represent.
I thought I'd ask.
Yeah, the drug that I do in my daytime job, I'm basically helping people get off opioid addiction.
Okay.
But in general, you're doing it at a lot of these addiction clinics, and there's a lot of very people. So part of it was that, and then I travel a lot. I like to travel a lot. It was just, making this whole war about me wanting to travel and the whole COVID factor. So I was just like, look, I know I'm a healthy person. First of all, working in the pharmaceutical industry, I understand how pharmaceuticals get put in the market. And I know how long it takes. I know the process. And to be completely honest, I don't trust it because
Not at all.
Because the biggest thing is in pharmaceuticals, what a lot of people may know or may not know is in order for a drug to hit market before the FDA even remotely approves it, you have to have years of efficacy, which means that you have to have back data for any type of scenario before they can say it's okay. So just like
Trial and error.
Right, just like with the people, because we don't know what's going to happen to people in 6 months, a year, or what type of allergies may come up or whatever.
Right.
It's impossible to know because it hasn't been out
Right.
to figure out
It's
the data.
brand new.
So basically, society is the data that they collect,
Yeah.
which is inhumane in a lot of circumstances because it's supposed to be a closed study.
like
And I
a
understand
guinea pig.
exactly, and I understand how long it takes years for even the drug that I have, which is buprenorphine. This is helping people not do drugs, and it took. I'm talking about like 10, 15 years before it hit the market, right? So you gotta think, if I'm taking a drug, we've not been dealing with drugs, and it took that long, and now I'm just coming up with this really vaccine, and now we're giving it to millions of people. We got all these government grants, 5 different companies doing it 5 different ways, and this is 8%.
How long AIDS been out? Y'all ain't came out with nothing. Y'all didn't,
Right,
y'all didn't spearhead that.
Right.
and
Exactly.
Everybody get together, Johnson & Johnson and Merck, Mecha, and all you guys. Y'all didn't do that for AIDS. Y'all couldn't find nothing.
No, they found it. They just know how much money it's going to cost.
But for this, you found, yeah, there you go.
Exactly.
And it's, it's no money in the cure.
It's not. But even in my
Chris Rock said that a long time ago. Ain't no money in the cure.
it's not.
Then they can't go back to the doctor. Yeah, you can't go back to the doctor.
Everybody, it's over with.
They're not making
You can't
money.
make no money.
Yep.
Exactly, and at the end of the day, that's what it boils down to. Man. Being in this industry, in the pharmaceutical industry, it's a very catch-22 industry because, on one hand, they'll say, we're going through this national epidemic of drug use, but they give us a bunch of hoops that we have to jump through in order for people to get the drug, which makes no sense, right?
Yeah.
If you can give away $1 million for you to get a shot, that means you got enough money for people to get grants to get a drug that's going to get out there, right? Where you get this money from, right?
Yeah.
If you got enough money for me to get this shot, then you should have enough money for there not to be a lot of paperwork for you to get the drug in the first place. I should be able to get this for free if you got $1 million. Because this drug gonna cost that much money compared to what you pay for.
And like the commercial, when the white lady has her grandkids and she's going to get a prescription filled and they say $87, she's like, and she get a leave and wait a minute, wait. Really?
Right,
You could give it to her for $8.95, really, but you don't tell her $87 the first time.
Right.
Really?
Yeah.
Just to see if she had the money.
Exactly. It's a lot of hands in the pot. So to answer your question, I got it out of minor obligation because of my field. If it wasn't for that, I wouldn't have got it because I don't trust it. To be honest with you, I got Johnson & Johnson because I don't like needles. It was one shot. I just did it and did it already said I did it. But I don't trust the vaccine at all because there's no efficacy of it. I don't know what allergies I might have that might flare up with this. You don't know what's going to happen to who in 5 to 6 months, in a month. You have no idea. There's no data on it, and you can't. And then on top of that, just figuring out the data that they do have with the bioavailability of a human. How long it take you to figure out if something will work on you? And you're doing this with thousands, 100,000 people. There's no way you have enough data to send for them to be like, okay, this is cool. No.
It wasn't quick enough.
You can't do it that fast.
You can't do it that fast.
Yeah, so, but yeah, I did it. Man. I did it just out of obligation, but I ain't doing nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, I love America. I love the people in America, but I don't trust the government. I just don't. I'm sorry. I just don't. I wouldn't go fight for the government. Now, if you said the motherfucking Russians was over on Livingston, we're not going to. They came all the way over here. You got to be crazy. It's time to fight. But I'm not over there. I'm not going over there to fight nobody on some shit y'all done started. You know what I mean? I feel like an American, like anybody else. I'm in 100%. You know what I'm saying? But I don't trust that y'all getting into conflicts for the right reasons. I'm not going to die over nobody's money, or nobody's drugs, or nobody's oil, or none of that. Come on. I'm not doing that. But let the Russians come over here, then we can get down. How about that? Because ain't nobody attacked America. The only war been over here has been a civil war. Nobody's attacked America, ever. They always talking about we need all this military might and strength and stuff. Nobody's attacking America. Come on. Get off of that.
Kenny, where can we find you on social media?
It's comedian Kenny. That's on all on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. That's the going thing right now with the whole TikTok thing. So that's what I got coming up. We'll be in Toledo next week, and then Arizona, and then we'll come back here to Columbus. I'll be featuring with Jason Banks, which he's pretty big on TikTok right now. So
There's a good shout out to Jason.
Yeah, shout out to
Jason Banks.
Yeah. So got about 4.6 million followers right now.
That's amazing. That is.
We just need more black clubs so we can work. We don't have to go beg people for work. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We need more black clubs. I mean, if I get famous and rich like that, they couldn't stop me from opening up a club. Eddie Murphy, Martin Lawrence, come on guys, where y'all go out there? Chris Rock, Chris Tucker, I could keep on going on and on and on and on and on, and none of you guys have a club.
Right.
You know, where's your clubs at?
Right. Yeah, people will come to it, yeah.
They would. And blacks would have something other than the chicken circuit. And we could be on par with the funny bones, the go bananas, the hilarities, the jokers, you know?
Right.
That's just what just chaps my ass for real. That we're not on par. As long as we've been doing comedy, for football, nobody has a club for real. Only
They said the only platform.
Yeah.
The only platform was like. Well, they said the only platform was like Def Comedy Jam. That was the only really big platform they had, like the Def Comedy Jam. That was the only thing.
Well, I'm talking about a club to go and actually work.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To actually work, like you're on a circuit.
Oh,
working
okay.
a circuit. You know what I mean? And there aren't any. J. Anthony Brown has the J Spot. Uptown in Atlanta is owned by black people. But that's just black people. They're not famous. They're not, you know what I'm saying? But it's good they got a club. But I'm talking about these famous people. Earthquake, you need to get a club open. Bruce, y'all need a couple. Come on now. Come on now. What are you waiting on? What are you waiting on?
Right.
Yeah. It makes you wonder why.
Yeah, almost like they told them you can't do this. We're going to let you in the door, but close it behind you. And don't be trying to make no comedy clubs once you get famous, because no. Make them come through us.
Right.
Make them come, and we can shit on them and treat them like we want to. But if you create these other avenues, no. So I want somebody to go against that and defy those odds. Kevin Hart, any one of y'all. You're rich enough to do it. You're rich enough to do it. To have a string of clubs around the country. We shouldn't have to beg people for work, right? Or email people every week and they know they're funny. We shouldn't have to do that. The other comics don't have to do that.
Right.
You know, that on our cover, they don't have to call constantly and bug these people constantly about getting on. They call in, hey, I got something for you. They call in.
Right.
I mean, so, but they want black comedy to be here and white comedy to be here. A real profession. And ours to not be. And if we want to be in a real profession, you got to go over there. You got to be over here with us. You know, because it's not a real profession over there.
I think it has everything to do with dealing with niggas when you run a comedy club.
It does.
Because I remember a famous comedian telling me that when he closed his comedy club, he was like, I'm at peace. I'm glad I don't ever have to deal with it again. I was like, oh. He was like, it was just a lot of work. He said, nobody, too much. Way too much. Yeah, like I can't deal with niggas.
Yeah, I would have, I probably would have, I don't know, you would have to keep the young people out. That's who's tearing up shit. You know, young people don't respect shit.
Then you gotta have people there to watch your money, who you trust. I'm sure it's so much.
Well, I tell you, it's worth, everybody has to do that. Find people that they can trust. You don't think white people steal? Hell yeah, they steal.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It's still an abundance.
Yeah, they steal. But I mean, it's more money to be made than not.
That's true.
So, sure, it's a headache, sure. But you'll find somebody who will host it. You'll find somebody who will run the show. They'll come for you.
Right.
You know, you can find some people for that. You know? Have I don't know. The age thing, you know, where like it's 35 and up. We do older comedy. We don't have young people like that. And what a lot of people, I found out that a lot of club owners, they don't understand, like, well, why did they start wilding out and stuff? Because your DJ is playing tear the club up all night, tear the club up, punch that nigga in his mouth, punch that nigga in it. What do you think he's gonna do once they get some drinks in him? They playing all this shit starting music, and then you wonder why they was fighting.
They set the stage for it.
Yes, they did. They set the stage for it. If I had even if I had a bar or a club, believe me, all you gonna hear is Marvin Gaye and shit. The young people gonna leave. Because I'm not playing Tupac in there. I'm sorry. You can't cater to kids. They don't respect shit.
I want to give a shout out to Dwayne Carter. He plays football at Duke, and he's watching our show. He just shared it on his story. And
Dwayne Carter, thank you so much.
Thank you,
Thank
Dwayne.
you.
And keep it moving. Keep doing what you do.
Yes, indeed.
He's one kid. I know he's going to the NFL.
Defense or offense?
He played defense and offense, but I think he's more offense. Huge dude.
All right.
Yeah,
okay,
he just added us to his story and everything.
Offense, I can run with you offense.
Yeah.
Defense, they're a little too aggressive on defense.
Kenny's still around for
I've seen Kenny outrun the dog before.
Kenny outrunning today.
Mrs. Carlin, man. Hussein Bolt and Mr. Carlin.
I feel like every time I talk about Kenny, I gotta tell everybody the story of how I became tall. Kenny is the reason I became tall. I was not this size. I was not at all. Kenny's one of Kenny's younger brothers is my basketball coach in high school. I went to Westside, from the Hilltop a little bit. And one of his younger brothers was my basketball coach in high school. When I was in high school, I was probably about 5'3", about 30, like my sophomore year in high school. Both my parents are short. And so Coach Mott was like, he's like, yeah, I had an older brother that was just like, he was real small his first couple years in high school. He's like, every day he used to stretch and eat peanut butter before he went to bed. So I was like, oh, that's all I gotta do? He's like, yeah. So my sophomore year through probably my senior year of high school, every night I would stretch and I'd eat peanut butter before I go to bed. Now when I graduated high school, I was probably about, I was always fast. I was good in track and I always been an athletic guy. When I graduated high school, I had about 5 days, probably first week, maybe. By the end of the first quarter of my freshman year of college, I was 6 foot 180 all muscle. And now I'm like 215. I'm like 6 foot, like 215. So basically, the moral of the story is Kenny is my dad. Like, it's the only reason Kenny is my dad. He doesn't know this yet, but he is my father. But no, I always tell Kenny. But the funny thing about that story is when Coach Mark told me that story, he never told me. He just said my brother Kenny. He never told. I never seen because Kenny got 17 siblings.
I know Kenny's there.
Yeah. Kenny got 2 AAU teams and siblings. Like, and then I know his younger brother DC. I went to high school with him too. So I never knew what Kenny looked like. And I was at the Funny Bone for a show. I forget who I was there to see. And I seen Kenny on the side of the stage. He said, "Kenny Mock." I was like, he looked just like Andre.
Yeah. That's gotta be it.
I was like, that's the dude, that's why I'm tall right there. I was so happy to see him. But when I saw Kenny, I mean, Kenny doesn't know this. I saw Kenny years before I ever did my first open mic. At the time, I was just strictly focused on improv comedy at the time. And years later, I'm not going to say like 3 years later, I saw Kenny at Bossy Girl Pinup. I didn't say anything to come. Him and Jason were standing there, and I was kind of, this is what I mean by, I was kind of, older comedians, they was talking to each other. They just seemed closed off.
Yeah.
They seemed very closed off.
And unapproachable.
And unapproachable at the time. And then you could tell that they were OGs in season. Because this is how I know they were season. They never went up when I was at Boston. I never seen these dudes go up. Right. But they was there. Yeah. And I felt like they were watching, but they would never go up. Right. But I never felt comfortable talking to them because I was so new. And then as I saw Kenny, I knew him, and I said something to him at that time. And I would try to talk to them. I just feel like, they was not trying to talk to me. No mentors and this and nothing. But as they noticed that I was serious, I started to notice them open up a little bit more. They started talking to me a little bit more. And I told them that story about how he was my dad. And I think that's when they eventually started to be nice to me. You know what I'm saying? It's a different situation where I felt like once they know that you're serious, they'll be more likely to talk to you. I always tell people that story because I'm like, I don't know if it was actually the fact that I was stretching so much that made me tall.
I stretched.
Or it was the peanut butter. It had a 3-year effect.
I did.
I was like,
that's the first time I've ever heard of peanut butter making you tall.
Hey, I don't know.
I did it every day.
See? I did.
I was 4'11" in the 9th grade. I was like, dude, I was just run home like, Mom, everybody gonna get tall. She said, eat some peanut butter and start stretching. Just messing around. I was in there stretching every day.
I did the same thing.
Yeah.
Scoop some peanut butter right before I went to bed.
Yeah.
I was like, Coach Mike, how did that even work? He's like, I don't know. He became the fastest person on the team, and he grew 6 feet tall. And now he's like, man, I can get 6 feet tall. My dad only 5'6". He ain't gonna talk shit and tell me to take off the garbage. No more. Like, I'm gonna be real.
Thank George Washington Carver.
Stores making me tall. It was all because of you.
Maurice, where can we find you on social media?
You can find me on TikTok and you can find me on Instagram, Mo Funny, M-O, Funny with 3 Y's, Mo Funny. I do have a show coming up June 24th, actually with Kenny and Jason. They're going to feature on the show. I'm hosting. It's a show that I put together this year. I'm trying to make my own way to get on stage as much as I can.
That's what you do.
Yep.
So I was like, I'm gonna throw my own show and then ask those guys to do me a solid, just because I want to throw. Because I feel like we really got like a banger show in Columbus, you know what I mean? So I wanted to start something, and I want to see what it gravitates to. But it was also the only reason I really did it, to get myself on stage. And I love hosting too. I feel like I'm a good host. I love just being on stage. So I have a show with them on June 24th. And then I think I have another show. I do have another show June 18th in Vienna. But besides that, I don't have anything else. That's pretty much it. If I'm on Instagram and TikTok, that's funny. It's funny with you guys.
Oh, funny with 3 Ys. Got it.
Right on. Right on.
Got it. Anything else before we close the show out?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey,
Thank you.
thank you all for being here.
Yes, thank you guys.
Keith,
I'm glad I finally was able to come.
thank you. Thank you.
I didn't want to get beat up.
Yeah, 'cause I was gonna come look for you.
Yeah.
You already know.
Every time she asked me, I was either doing something or getting in late or...
Kenny too.
I know.
That's why it worked out. This worked out perfect.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I'm umpiring softball and basketball, official, and comedy, so it's like it's a tough. Yeah, but I'm happy. Yeah.
See, now even hearing y'all not being able to make it to this week, it's just like, man, I was supposed to be in the situation to sit here. So thank you first of all for even asking. I didn't even know you know who I was, but ask me.
You don't remember me being at the...
No, I do remember you, but we
okay.
didn't really talk that
No.
much. And I'm not gonna lie to you, I thought it was a spam in my thing. Cause I was like, she don't know who I am. I'm not even, you know what I mean? And I was like, oh, this is cool. And then just me not making it, being able to come to this one with them is like monumental to me. And you don't have no idea how many gems and nuggets. Like my pockets are full of nuggets right now. I'm ready to apply some of this stuff. I'm gonna go home and write. I got some videos to edit, but I'm gonna write some stuff tonight because I feel like, all right, now I got somebody gave me something to like start with again.
Sure.
Just be able to use
Starting point.
Some starting points that I didn't have. You know, when you're in the comedy, you don't know your process, you don't know your voice, you don't know nothing. You're an infant. Like I said, I'm an infant, and to be able to just hear them, their stories, just understand how to do stuff. Like now, I'm ready to apply it. Just get on stage. I'm excited.
No doubt.
Thank you so much.
No
Thank
doubt
you.
about it. Father's Day, Indianapolis, Indiana. Well, not Father's Day, the day before. Me and Robert Day. Shout out to Rob Day. Funny guy out of Indianapolis. It's the 19th, the Saturday before Father's Day, 19th. And then the 20th, I'll be here somewhere. I'm going to remember somewhere on the 20th. I'll let you know next week more. I'll be in Warren, Ohio. Coming up, Peasy said he wants to go with me. Remember,
Yes.
I gotta make sure I do. And Denver, Colorado. I just showed you the stuff for Vegas. I'm gonna try to take you with me for the Vegas stuff. See if we can get some paper out.
Oh, shit.
Look at that,
I'm
man.
coming too.
Kenny, man, when I'm gonna get on a flight with y'all? I'm sick of this, man. See how you get treated, man? I'll carry your bags or something. Let me just get on the plane. Can I be an assist? I can help y'all pass out shirts or something.
Yeah, 20, 30 minutes apiece and just let a bot go and sing his songs and ready to go.
See, that's so dope. I love that. I love y'all. I
Look
saw
at
a
that,
picture
man.
of y'all from, I mean, I know it was at least
Big bro, man.
15 years ago, but it teared me up, and I was like, this is just, I loved it. It was
It's a beautiful thing.
It was a beautiful thing.
Yeah,
Man,
no doubt.
see,
Yeah.
look at
No
that.
doubt.
I'm just, you know, I'm gonna just start showing up in whatever city y'all told me, and just tell them I'm with y'all. I'm gonna just stand at the table before y'all get there and pass out
You know
shirts.
it's comics that do that. Don't tell everybody where you're gonna be now.
Right.
They'll be calling, talking about can they get on the show and they know you and oh man.
I would say, I just want to be in the room when y'all probably like be working. I just want to
Right.
be in the
I'm
environment to see how y'all operate,
Oh,
how y'all
no
get
doubt.
ready, how they, command things.
Yeah.
Like, I won't even be. I'll be a ghost.
It's a process.
So
It
I
is.
just want to be a ghost and just see how y'all do. I don't want to get on stage. I just want to be there. Just being there is enough. Just being in an area where you can soak up everything.
No doubt.
Listen, you think Jason gonna show up his age? I'm gonna be sitting in the front row.
Well, I tell you one thing though, what really helped us, with me anyway. Once you started the open mic at the Funny Bone, they gave us the pass to basically come and watch any show. Even if you didn't have a seat, we would come in and watch.
Just stand up,
Yeah,
yeah.
we'd stand. Remember, we stand up in the back. We'd go in there and watch Bruce's, all the big names sit there and just basically soaking all that in.
So
So
that's
into
what I
it.
want to do, man. But that's partially why I asked y'all. I did ask y'all, like, not even just about the stage time thing, but just in general, because I know a lot of comedians in my generation that we see and talk to, they're not as hungry and ambitious as I want to talk to y'all, because I like to, ask questions. I always ask, we talk about those things all the time.
Yeah.
But in general, I'm just trying to, like, I just want to, even if I go somewhere with y'all, just to, like I said, just to sit and listen and watch how y'all do stuff. I just want to, because I feel like if I get the experience of going on the road without actually being on stage, when it is time for me to go on the road, I know how shit goes.
Oh, yeah.
I know how things go. I know what to do and what not to do.
Yeah.
I know how to, because there's a whole business outside of being on stage when you're a comedian.
You hit that town, you go to a gas station and get their newspaper, and you read it. The local stuff.
And you have local
And
stuff.
whatever the biggest story is, you say one of them, and the crowd will be on your side.
Right.
Trust me.
Exactly.
Like, he know about our shit. Wow.
Right. See,
It always works.
But see, even
Always.
something like that, going on the road with somebody will see that, and they're
Yeah.
like, oh, every time I go on the road with Steve G, he can pick up a newspaper. If I'm on the road
Yeah.
with Kenny and them, and I'm just sitting there seeing how they get ready for a show or something,
Yeah.
I don't think we would get that. I wouldn't get that experience otherwise until I go on the road.
Mhm.
And I just want to soak that up so bad, just so I know when it's my time, it's my time. I move. You know what I mean? Coming on the show or something.
Like, get the plane
Just
ticket.
get the plane.
Let's
I'll
go.
buy my own plane. Thank you
Yeah.
so much.
Okay, well, motherfucker.
I ain't never scared. This was a great show. Thank you guys for your time.
Thank
Make
you.
sure you check out comedyslaps.com. On the website, you can check out our YouTube content. You can also check out the Slapstick Comedy radio shows and the magazine.
And we'll be signing off until next week. Thank you all for listening to Slapstick Radio. Thank you so much,
Next
Kim Out.
Thank you,
Maurice,
I appreciate
Keith
it.
Bender, I'm Stephen G. And
I'm Misha Mish.
we'll see you next time.
Peace.
All right, take it easy.
We gotta take a picture.